other than that, I'll tell you that probably the most dangerous thing I ever did was scuba diving. I love scuba diving. I was scuba diving. I was about 80 feet down, and I knew it was going to be a deep dive, and I was high as a kite on Quaaludes. So I went scuba diving on Quaaludes, right?
New twist.
No narcotics.
My doctor quit on Friday. So the pharmacy does not have the prescription from the doctor, even though she called it in and faxed it in. And she quit her job, and I can't get another prescription from the same urgent care that I went to last week. So basically just rub some dirt on it. Just sleep it off, which is a problem because I can't sleep because it hurts to lay on my side. So that's the healthcare system, guys.
That sucks.
Let's give it up for America.
Sounds like you're just not built different.
I'm not built different enough. No, I've had you guys know I've had rib issues on this podcast.
You do.
Billy fucked up my rib with a tight spiral at the University of Tennessee last year.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it had nothing to do with the spiral now.
I might just have
weak ribs.
You got some weak ass ribs, man.
I might have tender ribs, fall off the bone
Yeah.
ribs.
No, those would be good ribs.
I got riblets, like at Applebee's. I got
no seasoned ribs.
My ribs are baby back bitches. That's what they are. So yeah, this is nice. All right, so now if you're keeping track, I have been told to just basically deal with it. That's the prescription that I got. Just deal with it. Even though I had a prescription, now I don't have that anymore. I'm just trying to fall asleep at night.
Can you go to a different doctor?
Then isn't that like doctor shopping? Now I'm going to different doctors trying to get prescribed a narcotic.
Your doctor's patient shopping.
That's true. I mean,
I think it's time for you to try some street variations of what you're trying to
Black
accomplish.
market.
Yeah, just heroin.
It's time for you to try some sketchy black market bunk.
I'll never do that, Arian. I'll never do that. Today is Thursday, and it is November the 9th, and very excited to be back here. We're opening up the studio next week. Studio is not quite ready yet, but it will be. I went in there today. I think one of the guys working in the studio has been enjoying some 3Chi. That's what it smelled like in there.
Interesting.
Good for them. But very excited to get in there. This will be, I hope, our last episode in this temporary studio here. Mm-hmm. So if you're following Billy and Donnie online, which I highly recommend that you do, you should be doing that anyways. They're in Uganda. They're prepping for the Kenya-Uganda football game on Sunday. Billy is installing his offense right now, the Billy Coast offense. And he tweeted out one of the plays, which I don't know if it was smart for him to do that, because we might have ops. There might be ops in Kenya that are watching Billy on Twitter, seeing what he's putting in. It looks like Billy's installing the tush push.
Uganda.
It's called the Uganda offense.
He just really didn't install the tush push?
Yeah, he there's a picture, and it showed a picture of the playbook, and it looks a lot like the brotherly shove.
Let me see. I'm gonna text him. Tell me that. Send me the playbook, man. I'm gonna look over it. How did he not consult with me? And he's the offensive coordinator. How would you not do that? I'm looking insulted.
Yeah, you should be high key insulted.
Yeah.
Well, because you know that Billy thinks that he knows more about football than you do.
There's no way he thinks that.
His name's Billy Football.
You don't think that Billy has delusions of grandeur?
There's no way he thinks that, sir. I mean, maybe for the show and his stupid little, I'm just saying, Arian, to keep it funky for the conversation, he might say that. But there's no way he actually thinks that shit.
You'd be surprised.
Okay, he might not think that, but he definitely thinks that his ideas of what he can install are better for the Uganda team than what your ideas would be.
Somehow that's racist. I don't know how, but it feels like it.
I agree.
I'm trying to think how that's racist, because it's the Uganda football team. African American football. That's what they are.
I think it's less racism and it's more cultural appropriation.
Who is he culturally appropriating?
He took his boot off. I saw he took his boot off.
Yeah, he did. It's dumb.
Is he?
He's gonna get his leg amputated.
Didn't he say something about he was gonna play a play or something like that?
Yeah, he said he was gonna play.
He said the people of Uganda have shown him how to be strong and work through pain.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, he's installing the tush push right now. That'll be interesting. I don't know if that can work. Marv Twist can do anything though.
Okay, he sent it to me. He said, I legit had to start from scratch. They didn't have a playbook.
So he's doing tush push, huh?
Yep. So so he's got some basic runs. He has a basic flood route. Okay. He has all stops.
4 verts.
Hey, these are Madden plays, man. Nah, you gotta teach the basics though. The only thing is like, so he has people blocking, but the hard part about it is the intricate part about football, which is like really tough, is like who you block depends on how they line up, right? So if a guy is lined up on you like in a certain way, like they'll call it 2-eye or 3 technique or 4-eye, whatever the case may be, that changes who you block on any given play.
Yeah, you gotta call out the mic.
Yeah, so he had. Well, that's more. That's more. Well, that's for
linebackers. He's talking about defensive linemen. You don't know ball.
Talk that shit.
No, but I'm saying it changes your blocking scheme depending on who the mic is.
It can. Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
But it's tough. So he just has. So he just has like. Oh, here. Let me turn my brightness down. So he has just the offensive. Things, right? But he doesn't have like what front. Is it a 4-3 he's playing? Is it a 5-2? Is it a bear front? Like, because if it's a bear front, your alignments change. I mean, your blockers change. So it's like that's what's hard about teaching football in a week. There's so much stuff, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna do basic shit too. So I don't know. It should be interesting.
I think they should just run the tush push every play until they stop it.
Should be more. We're trying to spread the game of football. That's boring as fuck.
3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah, listen, you got to start somewhere, man. We lost 6-0 to Kenya.
You know what would be a good play to run over and over and over again? The triple option.
Agreed.
That would be a great play because then it could change every play, and you could switch up who you let free, and then you can run a pass off of it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a good play to install.
Agreed. The Texans did their version of a triple option on Sunday. Did you watch that game?
No, I haven't watched football in a couple of weeks actually.
So they ran a really cool play where Stroud handed the ball off, and then he trailed, or it was like a little pop pass, I think, and then he trailed the ball carrier. They pitched it out to Stroud. He ran forward for like 11 yards. It was a great play.
Okay.
Yeah, Texans doing fun stuff.
I know he looks good from the highlights I'm seeing. He be slinging that thing.
Yeah, he looks really good. Are you a Stroud boy?
Not a boy at all.
I'm a Stroud boy.
Okay. I do think he's playing well though.
Mm-hmm. I think he is too.
Why do people do that? You got to get into a camp.
Well, they had Tuanon. Tuanon was like Tua's group of diehard fans online, and then this quarterback class, I was like, I'm not really heavy into Tuanon. I think he's a fine quarterback, but he runs a great system.
What is Tuanon?
It's like if you're a diehard Tua stan.
Oh, the dude from Miami. Gotcha.
Yeah. Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa. Thank you.
You were saying it so wrong. It made me say it wrong.
I'm sorry. My fault. My fault, Big T.
Yeah.
So I became a member of the Stroud Boys. Some people are members of Bryce's, but it looks like Bryce's is not off to a good start. Stroud Boys up big. You can also be a Desbian if you're a Desmond Ridder fan.
Nobody's a Desbian.
No one is. I'm trying to remember what the other ones are that we came up with. There were a bunch. We came up with Colts for like the Halaban. I'm also in the Halaban for Sam Howell.
What's the Kirk Cousins fan club?
It was Westboro Baptist Kirks, which also works for Joe Burrow. Westboro Baptist, yeah. And you could also do God Hates Jags. We came up with a whole bunch of them. There were like so many.
That's pretty fucking funny. God Hates Jags.
Yeah. So you gotta become a cult member if you're a fan of an NFL.
What's Josh Dobbs?
Oh, that's a good question. We do need a Dobbs one, huh? Let's see, Josh. I don't know.
I'll give you till the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll think of one.
Circle back, Big T. I want to hear this.
Okay, I'll work on it. But you got to be a cult member if you're an NFL fan. That's kind of the rule. So we're back. Big T, are you teed off about something? Please tell me you're pissed off about something. I love it when you're mad.
Yes, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say it's going to be a great event tonight. The Barstool Invitational. It doesn't really do any good to promo it on this show because it's coming out on Thursday, but you should have come last night if you're in Chicago. It's going to be great. The first game, though, kind of like my worst nightmare. It's FAU against Loyola Chicago, which Loyola Chicago ruined my life in 2018, knocking Tennessee out of the NCAA tournament in a region that turned out to be like a straight shot to the Final Four on a bullshit last-second shot.
Why is it bullshit?
It hit
because it went in.
Go watch it. Clayton Custer is the kid's name. I'll never forget it. Touches every part of the damn rim. Defied physics. Sat on there for 8 seconds and then fell in. And then FAU obviously beat Tennessee last year in the Sweet 16, and they are playing each other. So I have a literal courtside seat to watch the two teams that have ruined my life on separate occasions play each other.
Okay, Clayton Custer, the shot's up. Yeah, that's a shooter's bounce.
Yeah, and then watch this. Jordan Bone, half court, right off the back of the rim.
back of the iron. That's tough. Okay, yeah, so it's gonna be fun though. I think they got me on some sort of courtside duty. I'm basically gonna be the reporter on Rico Bosco. So Rico's gonna be doing some interviews, and then I get
so for those of us who don't know what you're talking about, what are y'all talking about?
So we're hosting a basketball. It's not really a tournament. It's it's 2 games of college basketball tonight at DePaul University.
Like real college basketball?
Yeah. So first game, as Big T said, is Loyola against FAU. FAU, you remember them? They were in the Final Four last year. Loyola, they're always kind of in the conversation. And then the next game is Mississippi State, who's a pretty good team, and they're playing against Arizona State, led by Bobby Hurley. So it's actually 2 very, very fun games. So
when you say you're hosting it,
yeah,
it's the Barstool Sports Invitational.
Oh, so it's like a little in-season tournament.
It's not. Yeah, it's not really a tournament because it's just 2 standalone games, but it's an event. It's a basketball event,
and Barstool is hosting.
And we're hosting it. Yeah, it's gonna be on Barstool TV, on the Barstool YouTube. And yeah, it's gonna be a really, really fun time. So they've got me working the sidelines with Rico. I might even be the mop guy with Jerry, like run out into the court and clean up spills, clean up sweat.
Jerry is fucking hilarious, bro.
Yeah, you like Jerry?
I like Jerry, man. Jerry, my dude.
He's a cool guy. And he puts his heart into everything. Bully heart.
Bully mop
for sure.
You don't have bully ribs.
I don't have bully ribs, not at all. I can't wait. I hope they give me the Lib Man mop.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that those are always like that's the courtside mop?
Have you seen?
Actually, Big T, you should be Lib Man.
Let's see if we can make that happen. Have you seen? It might be in China. I think it's China. The mop is sponsored by Cup of Noodles.
Yeah,
and it's noodles. It's awesome.
It is really cool. Yeah, very excited about that.
Look, Big T, you look happy, man. Like you look happier than normal, man. Like you look.
I'm doing fine.
It looks good on you. I'm just saying, man. It's good to see you happy.
I appreciate that. You look happy too.
I'm pretty whelmed. Yeah,
I'm
pretty whelmed. Yeah.
What are you happy about, Big T? Sounds like you're teed up.
No, I'm fine.
Life going good?
Doing good.
Everything cool?
Yeah.
All right.
You're here.
Big T's good.
I'm fine. I'm good.
It's as good as it gets for Big T.
So the aesthetics of that studio are 1,000 times better.
Just wait till we're in our own.
I will, but I'm just saying, that shit looks 1,000 times better.
Aesthetic and vibes. I think it's a vibes thing.
All I'm gonna say as a tease about the new studio, we have the best desk in the world.
We do. It's so cool.
That shit is cracking. That is actually cracking.
It's a cool desk. You'll have to tune in and check it out next week, but it is.
It's a big question mark.
Okay, well, yeah, or you could just give it away.
Whoa. Should I
and what he means when he says that is what it looks like is a question mark. You don't know.
We don't know. It could be anything.
Should I bleep?
No, you can leave it in. Okay. Fuck it.
That's like, they're gonna be really underwhelmed when they see the desk. It looks cool, but I don't think it's reveal worthy. Or you could blank it out. I don't be that guy. You're right. Blank it out.
Okay. It's a question mark. Who fucking cares?
We don't know.
It's really cool though.
It is a cool.
It's a curved
looking
desk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a
Right.
Miami Dolphins Arian Foster jersey to hang.
Oh yeah, I
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah. Can we get a Christmas tree? Am I allowed to do that?
Once it's Christmas time.
Whoa.
Yeah, good point.
I think it's about that.
Mm.
I'm actually cool with that.
Arian,
now,
help
though.
me
No,
out. Back
no,
me
no,
up.
no, 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 no,
Mm-mm.
no, no, no.
Back
After
me up.
Thanksgiving, you can put up a Christmas tree.
I stand with
disagree
Big T.
strongly. Why?
Because if you put up the Christmas tree now, it's ruined by December 1st.
Yep, your Fraser
Ooh.
fur can't last that long. It's
What?
impossible.
Wait,
no.
I won't get a real
I
tree.
vehemently disagree.
I
with
don't
this.
I don't mean it will
This
wither
is-
away. I mean
He did.
he was joking. The Christmas spirit, you
Will
can't.
wither away.
It becomes
he was
old
joking.
hat.
Can we do a video of us decorating the tree?
Yeah, once it's Christmas time.
I'll get ornaments.
I agree with Big T. Christmas commercials started so early this year.
Oh, they were in October.
They started well before Halloween. It was like
it's because they felt like the world needed a little bit more joy. Just
Mhm.
inject a little bit more
Mhm.
joy right
Mhm.
before Thanksgiving, and
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay.
I disagree.
It
No,
ruins
is.
the joy.
that's not what it's about. No, Arian, no. Let me jump in here because it's not about injecting joy. It's about commercialism
Mhm.
and trying to get money out of hardworking people's pockets in the month of October.
Okay,
That's what
woke
it's about.
PFT,
And we need to
woke-
wait. We need to.
Oh, woke. Well, you guess what I'm saying?
We got to
Merry
wait for the
Christmas
Christmas spirit right now.
I'm
Yeah.
saying Merry Christmas.
Oh, now I'm
again.
on his side. Now I'm on his side. We're saying it.
We're saying it again. Don't let these woke leftist libtards try to trick you into
This
not
guy's
loving
talking some
Christmas.
sense.
Keep the reason for the season as well, you know?
Yeah.
Let's hang up some Jesus Christ ornaments. How about that?
Mhm.
Listen,
You know?
Keep the Christ in Christmas.
This guy's making a lot of sense right now.
Let's put Jesus Christ in Louis Vuitton robes, right?
Okay,
Louis
well
Vuitton
now
flip flop. No, did I go too far? But damn, I lost you.
I think we need to
I-
keep the moss in Christmas. Let's get some fucking Taco Bell designs in
Ooh,
there.
love that.
Yeah.
I would love to decorate a Christmas tree the first episode after Thanksgiving
Okay, I'm so
when
down.
it's Christmas time.
Am I allowed
So
to get
you
a
gonna
fake tree or is
boycott
that
if me and Maddie just happen to be in there decorating a tree?
Arian,
Hashtag not my tree.
Arian, the day you are here in this new studio, you and I will Christmas carol about.
We'll do it. We bring a camera. We'll
Mhm.
go shopping for the Christmas tree and the
Yeah.
ornaments.
Done.
And we'll just make it a thing.
You guys gonna
Done.
get a fake tree?
I'm an atheist, and I love Christmas.
Wait, can I?
I
Christmas
love
is
Christmas
wonderful.
so much that I
Ruining it.
can't have it like I can't start celebrating Christmas now and have the Christmas spirit ruined by the time it comes around.
Yep.
I bought tickets the other day. I'm so excited for Christmas. I bought tickets December 16th, some like string quartet candlelight concert. It's going to be incredible. I love Christmas more than I love anything in the world. But that's why you can't start celebrating right
Yep.
now.
I disagree. It just doesn't ever get old. I mean, you're how old, Big T? I don't know, 20-something. I'm 37. Maybe I was new to Christmas. Maybe that was it. You know, I didn't celebrate Christmas growing up. And so when I finally just dug in, it doesn't get old. It can't get old. It
It's
is
the best.
literally the most joyous time of the year. It's cold. That's my vibe. It's cold. It's
You live in
sweater
Houston.
season. It gets cold sometimes, bro.
Yeah, it gets
Fuck you.
56.
We should do it like a
That's
secret
pretty cold
Santa, or like a white elephant. We should do that.
What is a white elephant?
It's like Secret Santa, but like gag gifts.
Shitty presents.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, like a
rich. We
shitty
should
present.
give real presents.
Okay, then let's do Secret Santa. I've
Let's
never.
do Secret Santa? I'm in.
Okay.
Mhm.
Also, PFT, I've never had a real tree in my life.
You've what?
That's crazy.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so I
I know
like
you
your
have
dad.
history.
I like your mom.
Yeah.
They're great people. Shout out Dad Dog. Shout out Mama Dog.
Yeah.
Never.
Never a real tree.
That's child abuse.
Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad. You never had the smell.
No.
There's nothing like walking in the living room December 13th,
Oh yeah,
smelling that fur.
yeah.
No.
We're gonna get you in a Fraser fur this year.
I need one for my apartment.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on a Fraser fur.
Okay.
I'll do some research.
I have tall
I'll find-
ceilings. I'm good.
I might even do like a video of how to pick out the best Christmas tree.
I literally will get a real tree in my real apartment,
Okay.
but I've never had one in my like parents' house.
Okay.
Ever, growing up.
That'll be a video for Macrodosing.
Okay.
I'll teach people what to look for in a Christmas tree, how to shop for the perfect Christmas tree,
Can we
and
get
then
Yeah,
and
I
then
used to be a tree
and then
guy.
we'll decorate.
Yeah.
Then we'll decorate them.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
I'm getting tingly right now talking about Christmas.
That's what
That's
I'm
how
saying.
much I love
Let
Christmas.
Let the joy.
But that you
sing.
have to wait to make it better.
Yep. Do you think that heaven is
Don't-
like Christmas all the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, it's like Jesus season up there all the time.
Yeah. Do you have to go to
What's
church
what
in
the
heaven?
temperature is. They don't understand what the temperature is up there.
If you had to go to
'Cause-
church in heaven, would people actually go? Because like you're already in heaven.
I think you want to go.
So
I
it's
think
like,
if you have
but
to ask, do you have
already
to go to church in
there,
heaven?
though.
That's probably a bad sign.
it's
Well, but I also think
That's probably not the question you want to be
I
asking.
don't know, man. I'm kind of with them because like if I'm already there, I did.
You
what I
did the
had to do to
work.
get
I think
there.
it's a constant state of worship. I don't know that there's a designated
that
weekly
sounds
time.
Like torture. Like
Do you-
I already did it, bro. I passed the test, and you're gonna keep giving me a test for eternity.
So-
there's no like vacation. You know what I mean? Like I get there and I'm like, all right, dog. I did what I had to do.
There will
Like,
be a mansion made up for you in heaven.
That's what I'm saying. I want to ride on fluffy clouds with Pegasus, eating marshmallows and shit. Like, why I gotta go to church and listen to the same shit?
But doesn't everyone have like their own different version of heaven? Like, is everyone's heaven the same? Like, my heaven and
Depends
PFT's
how
heaven
liberal
are
your
not
church
the
is.
same. Does your church think that all heavens are the same?
No.
it's just
Live.
Oh, that they're all
Live.
the same.
Wait, like are all of our heavens the same in your church?
I don't know. I haven't been yet. I can't. I can't answer your questions.
like, for example, if I went to heaven and like
JMU would be in the college football playoffs.
the Washington Commanders winning every Super Bowl, I get
Right.
to hang out on my couch all weekend eating chicken wings, watching
Yeah.
sports.
I actually, that is a question I have. Can we watch, like the football still happening in this earth?
It's heaven, sure.
Do you become omnipresent, like omniscient? You can watch everything that goes on Earth.
You probably know what's gonna happen if you're in heaven, though.
Well,
No,
I don't
what,
think
you're
heaven's the
you're
future.
not omniscient. If you're in heaven, that's still
Like, I would
Lord.
still like to observe, the Vols seasons.
Mm-hmm. But what if?
See, but
if you're in
heavenly
heaven-
football would be kind of trash though. There's no shit talking. You know what I mean? Like no late hits. There's no like rivalries because everybody gets along.
But
You know
that
what I mean?
no,
It's
no, no.
like-
That's what I'm saying though. Like,
He wants to watch Earth football.
I still want to watch. Yeah, I still want to watch the games down here.
I think that's. I don't know if you can dabble, my brother. I think if you want to watch the games down here, you gotta be down here or down there, which the games are probably even better.
Oh, hell football! If there was a football game between heaven and hell, I got hell minus 55.
Oh, no question.
Like that, hell would fucking dude. Aaron Hernandez putting up like 6 touchdowns. a
Ray
game.
Rice.
Yeah, Ray Rice. This would. Well, I don't know if we can say Ray
no,
Rice.
Now, hang on.
Rice,
First
not
of all,
Ray
he's
Rice.
not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead.
Secondly,
He's
gonna
okay.
be.
Think about this though. Heaven. Reggie White definitely on heaven.
Yep.
Are we
Who-
talking about already dead
We-
people?
We should
Yes.
make an all
Oh,
dead team.
Heaven versus hell.
Reggie White wreaking havoc for heaven.
Oh, Pat Tillman.
That's
Heaven.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Hot take.
I-
He was all right.
Yeah. So Pat Tillman was.
All right.
He was a decent football player.
Yeah, he was all right.
It was about the fact that he like chose to step away from football, and
Yeah.
then everything that happened once he became a member of the military, and how his name has been like co-opted by a bunch of different people, trying to if you want to support Pat Tillman, his foundation is pretty good though. I will say that it's a good cause.
Jim Brown.
Hell,
Pat Tillman
Really?
was also.
Oh.
in the 80s.
Madeline, I hate to break it to you.
You Madeline me for this? Wait. what?
Madeline.
Yeah, government. The government name.
Wait, is Jim Brown bad?
Jim Brown. Jim
Wait.
Brown
He was a woman. abuser.
is a complicated person, as many of us are.
Heroic, but he's no hero. Is what the first article I see says.
So,
Ooh,
Jim
wait.
Brown, great football player, did a lot for civil rights too. A lot
Okay.
for civil rights.
Let's skip over the great football player part. Probably the best football player in any decade post and pre, give or take 30, 40 years.
Yes, he was
Ooh.
very, very good.
Violence against women.
He also,
I didn't know that.
I think, threw a woman off a balcony at some
What?
point. Yeah.
Got to hear both sides. I'm totally kidding.
Where's Walter Payton?
I don't
He's
know.
absolutely in heaven.
I don't know that much about Walter.
All right, now we're starting to. We got fucking dogs on both sides of the ball.
John Madden is the coach.
Yeah.
John Madden is
Yeah.
the coach. Yeah. Who's the hell coach?
Who's dead?
There's a lot.
Oh,
of-
buddy, the Penn State coach.
Oh.
No.
Joe
Turno.
Pod?
That's not funny. That's not funny.
He's in hell. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a good matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, the linebackers in hell, I would have to imagine, would be pretty excellent.
Well, it's a little
Is
positionist.
Lawrence Taylor dead?
No, he's still alive.
What about Sean Taylor?
No, you just fucking killed him. Good job.
Ooh,
Nathan.
Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor, heaven.
Mhm.
I will not tolerate any Sean Taylor slander. on
Yeah,
this
I'm with that.
podcast.
Yeah, I'm with that.
He died defending his fiance and his baby child.
Heaven.
Yeah, heaven.
Yeah, shot like in the leg, wasn't it? It was like an artery that he bled out.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So somebody broke into his house. He was not allowed to possess firearms because of an earlier incident when somebody stole his ATVs. And so he went to go confront them, get his ATVs back, brought a gun with him, got into a fight, beat the shit out of somebody. They took away his gun. So he was not allowed to have a gun. He had a machete in his house. And somebody broke into his house thinking that he was not there. It was somebody that he actually paid money to look after his property. It was like a friend of his little sister. And so he paid money to these kids to like clean the pool, look after the house, come by every now and again. And they thought he was out of town because he was injured. And they broke in and they get into his bedroom and he jumps out of bed, grabs a machete, comes at these kids, got shot once in the leg and then bled out within like 30 seconds because it hit the
What?
artery. Yeah.
Damn.
So if you get shot in the leg, it's actually very, very dangerous, especially in your thigh.
I feel like it's dangerous if you get shot anywhere.
Yeah. Maybe not in the hand.
I think shoulders pretty safe.
Arms, you'll probably be okay. Lower leg.
You want to tell that to chaps? That if you get shot in your arm, it's not a big deal?
I didn't say it's not a big deal. I
Mhm.
said you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, true.
Thank Lord he's still with us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I saw there was one reality TV show. It was probably like True Life. I'm obsessed with body mutilation. And this one dude had...
the fuck?
Like My Strange Obsession.
Yeah, it was like a show on MTV or one of those channels. It was
Don't
way...
doubt you. That's just a wild sentence I didn't never think I was gonna hear.
Yeah, it was way back in the day. There were people that would put like strings through holes in their back and get levitated off the ground. People with like piercings everywhere, tattoos everywhere. This one dude was like, I want to get shot. I want to have a bullet wound as like an accessory in my body.
Is this like a sexual thing? Is it like masochism?
I'm sure that there's probably some masochism elements to that, yeah.
Okay.
And this dude hired somebody to shoot him, and they figured the best place to do it would be like right through this one spot in the shoulder that wouldn't affect anything. You have to like aim very, very carefully though, because there's a lot of moving pieces in
Your
the
head.
shoulder.
How
Yeah.
far away? It's got to be point blank, right?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Okay.
Oh my
And
God.
it was funny. They hired like an independent contractor, ambulance driver, EMT, to be nearby to give him first aid and then take him to the hospital. And this guy he showed up to the shooting, and he was just sitting in the room next to it, just waiting, smoking a cigarette. He's like, yeah, I think they're about to shoot him right now. I'll be ready for it. He's just there smoking a cigarette. You hear the loud bang. It's like, okay, they shot him. Time to take him to the hospital.
I assume he was okay.
Yeah, I think he was fine. But if you had
Is
died,
that legal? How's that legal?
no, not legal, not legal. If you had died, what a way to go, huh? Nobody would feel sorry for you.
Not a soul.
But yeah, heaven and hell. We need to put together a Pro Bowl team for heaven, Pro Bowl team for hell.
Mhm.
Tim Tebow's. That's your problem. Is Tim Tebow is probably going to eventually take over the number one spot in heaven, and then heaven's team is going to go way downhill.
Who's
Yeah,
the
they're gonna
quarterback
be
right now?
trash.
Yeah, who's the?
Be
I was
trash.
just gonna ask who's quarterback. Like right now, dead people, heaven and hell.
I don't know. I mean, the evolution of the quarterback position has gotten so much better in the last like 30 years.
Warren Moon.
Is he dead?
I think he's alive.
No, that was an accident. I meant Rodney Pete.
Okay.
Oh,
Rodney Pete.
um,
Damn, Warren Moon. I hope I didn't just kill him.
I think he's like not that old.
Dwayne Haskins.
I mean, he
Oh.
played for the Houston when he was with the
Wait,
Oilers.
Rodney Pete is also alive.
Wait, then who died?
I don't know.
Who am I thinking? Oh, Steve McNair. I'm thinking of Steve
Oh,
McNair.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking of Steve McNair.
July 4th, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Warren Moon's 66.
That's actually a wild way to go. He went out crazy. Like my man's had a side jump, which maybe absolves him from the heaven team. But aside from that, he had a side joint, and the side joint got like hella jealous because she wasn't like gonna be the main, and she offed him and then herself.
Yeah.
Crazy, dog.
On 4th of July.
Yeah, it was was it like a boat or something?
I think it was in his apartment. He had like a side
Yeah, I
apartment.
think it was at
too.
his house.
That's crazy. That's a shitty way to go, bro. You just find a little fling. You just trying to have some fun, and she's like, "Nope, this is it. End of the road, buddy."
Yep.
Jeez.
Okay. I'm gonna give Billy football that assignment to make a heaven and hell football team.
Have fun getting him.
Oh, he will. He will do it at the last second, but he will do it.
Also, Dwayne
Oh my
Haskins.
God.
Yeah,
football
that's
quarterback.
too soon.
Yeah.
That's too soon for Dwayne. His death is also like very, very
So sad.
strange and mysterious, and like there's rumors that he got drugged and all
Who?
sorts of stuff.
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins,
Oh yeah, that was a wild happenstance too.
very sad. There's some good football players though. That now that I think about it, a lot of good football players in heaven too.
Do we have any
Junior
receivers?
Junior Seau.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Let's see who would be receivers up in heaven.
Receivers up in heaven. This is a wild topic.
Yeah, because like it's tough because most people who have passed away played in an era where the passing game wasn't the main focus. It was still kind of like old school run the ball football.
Could they play in the heaven era?
Yeah, I don't know. The heaven era has not reached its golden age of football quite yet.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But yeah, the heaven conversation is interesting because I don't think like my version of heaven would be different than Big T's version of heaven, which would be different than Mad Dog's version of heaven, which would be different than Arian's version of heaven.
Right.
But we all would hypothetically exist up there at the same time. Would we be seeing it through different perspectives, or would we get mad because like, oh, now today is like an Arian heaven day and nobody gives a shit about Valorant?
Or it's like that show, The Good Place, and it's just great. Everything's just kind of great.
Yeah.
Why'd I catch a
I don't
straight
know.
right there?
Have you seen the show?
I saw like the first 2 seasons,
Oh, so you have seen the show.
like a little bit.
Everything's not great. I don't want to ruin the show for people who haven't seen it, but
But like that idea where it's like, it's
Sure.
just like a utopian society type.
good
of thing.
show if you haven't seen it.
I know the ending.
Heaven
though.
would be interesting. Just if there's any kind of opinions allowed, right? And this is all prefaced off if there is a thing. But if there's any kind of opinions allowed, it just would be. I mean, what is there like 8 billion people, almost 8 billion people on the planet right now? We can't agree on shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the people that have died in the past. Like, it's just no, like, there's no way you sitting up there content. Like, somebody's up there, like, I mean, it's cool, but I mean, can my man at least give us a, you know what I mean? It's like somebody's upset about something. Like, there's just no way everybody's just content. That shit would be hilarious to hear the secret powwows about how things should be different in heaven.
Yeah. And to Big T's point, if he got to watch Tennessee football, they lose. Let's say hypothetically they lost to Florida again. You're up in heaven.
Again was unnecessary.
Another stray.
We're 1-1 in the last 2.
These strays, man.
But you're up in heaven, and then you're pissed off for like a week because you
No,
lost to
but it's
Florida?
it's a literal perfect place. Like you don't. It's fine.
So. But would you always win against Florida?
Well, no, not if you're watching the Earth games. But then you just go back to the perfect paradise with God.
You're like, you know what? Let's replay that game up here in heaven
Mhm.
with like my personal heaven's influence on the game. Then you get to beat them.
Sure.
Angels in the end zone.
Yeah. Did they ever do that movie?
No,
Yeah, they
Angels
did.
in the
It was horrible. No, they did Angels in the end zone.
Oh,
It was
really?
horrible. Yeah, it was
I love
dog.
Angels
it
in
was
the
like, It was like one of
Outfield.
those. I think it was like one of those Nickelodeon rendition type Jones. Like
Wait,
very bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like Air Bud type shits.
Angels in the End Zone. Yep.
What other Angels movies were there? Because
Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, that was a great movie. It was a very like sad backdrop to it, where it's like, oh my
Deadbeat
my
dad.
deadbeat dad's gonna fall back in love with my mom if the Angels win the pennant.
Also, yeah, what a ridiculous premise.
yeah. And was the mom consulted on that at all, or the kid was just like, Dad, why can't you get back to Mom? He's like,
the kid should have said like, well, if what an arbitrary. Well, you could just do that anyway. If the only thing that has to happen is the Angels win.
yeah. Also, How did the Angels ever allow that movie to get made using their team logo? It's like the entire premise of it is the Angels are such a bad baseball team that they have no hope of winning anything unless
God is
God
involved.
personally intervenes and bends the rules of baseball to help them win. And it's such a far premise for the Angels to ever win a game that people's deadbeat dads would make
Right.
promises of getting back together. What
Like-
were the Angels thinking? And ironically, that is the biggest dub the Angels have like ever had,
Yeah.
besides the Rally Monkey, which was awesome.
To be fair, I mean, that is how ridiculous the notion of them winning anything is.
yeah.
So
What's
I
it?
thought they was never good. I thought when they got Pujols, they was alright. No,
No,
not really.
they made it to the World Series in
2002 or 3
I think it was 2002.
against the Giants.
Yeah, against the Giants, and that's when they had the Rally Monkey, Mike Scioscia. What do you think is a crazier premise in terms of like the history of how bad a team is versus what they put forward in a movie? Do you think Angels in the outfield being made, implying that they would need like divine intervention to actually win any games, or 2, draft day, Cleveland Browns having a competent front office? What do you think is a bigger stretch?
To be fair, the front office in that movie, it takes a very roundabout way to be incompetent.
That's true.
I mean, Sonny Weaver was batshit out of his mind for the first 16 hours of the day,
Yeah.
and then somehow pulls it all together at the end.
And drafts Arian Foster.
Yeah. He had a plan.
I don't know.
Oh, here's another bad one. Henry Rosenberger.
Oh, Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the year? No, that movie rocks.
No, I agree. It's a great movie. But like you need a 12-year-old to come help. Your squad out.
Yeah.
Had a cannon.
He did have he's throwing like
Float it.
100 plus.
Mom
yeah.
in that movie, hot.
Just float it.
Fact.
That may be a memory thing. Let me double back on that because I have similar
Feelings.
feelings, but I just don't remember how she looked.
No,
Amy
she's,
Morton?
she's good looking.
By the way, 90s styles was probably the worst style that has ever been in existence.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
I take that back. No, she's not.
That's what I thought. I think it was like a memory thing, dog.
Am I thinking of
Rosenberger.
hang on.
Amy Morton, that's her, ain't it?
Yeah.
Mary Rowan Gardner. Nah, you bugging. I mean, listen, I don't want to disparage anyone, but I mean, she's.
I was thinking of the mom in Little Big League, who's
Man, I don't
Pete
think
Crow
this-
Armstrong's mom.
Yes. And Little Big League, I agree with Brandon Walker on this take. Little Big League, better movie.
Then Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Little Big League is a great movie. Also kind of a ridiculous premise, which is the Minnesota Twins are terrible at baseball. The owner dies. He sends the team to be owned by his grandson, and then his grandson becomes manager and takes the Twins to first place.
I don't think I've seen this.
I haven't either.
Oh, it's a great movie.
And the mom in that movie, her son is now a Major League Baseball player.
Oh,
He's
how
like a
fun is
top.
that?
He's like a top 10 pick.
How fun is that?
When that movie came out and also Rookie of the Year, that was a very dangerous time for me personally as a kid because
You were waiting for the call.
I was like, it could be me. Like I better get in the gym. At any given moment, I might have to put on a baseball uniform and get out there. Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. Dennis Farina was in that movie. Dennis Farina's a great actor. Absolutely love him. So what else is going on? What's new? What's new with the crew?
Blue Wave.
Yeah, I guess a blue wave happened last night. Small blue wave.
Give it a year.
Yeah. So Sleepy Joe, is he going to run again? We don't know. There's a lot of back and forth about that. I think Sleepy Joe got passed in some polls by Donald Trump, who might not even be allowed to run. So that's my political analysis. Actually, my political analysis remains the exact same as it was last year, which is that like everyone has been predicting a red wave, but basically all the Republicans that keep losing are the ones that like make the biggest stink about how like trans people are coming to indoctrinate your children and kidnap them, basically and force them into sex changes. If you rely so much on that messaging, normal people will not vote for you, and they didn't learn that lesson from the last time. So you would think that with everything going on, and especially like midterm elections, Republicans have a big opportunity to take some significant seats away from Democrats. That's how it always works. But the more they lean into that, and like their most online fan base, you could call it, their most online members of the electorate, it's like the worse you do. It usually goes the same for Democrats too. The more you rely on like internet shit and like fringe arguments to win elections, the worse you end up overall. You get high on your own supply sometimes. If you have a candidate that's like getting massive amounts of retweets on shit from like far left or far right reactionaries, they typically don't win elections where it's usually older, normal people that vote. That's just my take.
No, it's true, because older folks are not sensationalized by that because they don't really know how to work social media like that. And so the majority of people that vote, they don't be in the trenches with the culture wars like that.
Yeah. And abortion is obviously like a big thing. It was in Ohio, it was in Virginia, where again, people want to just kind of go back to it, at the very least what it was like 3 years ago.
That's probably, I mean, from what I've seen, the point I've seen, that abortion, and I think Medicare for all as well is, well, maybe not as, but like abortion is very popular among voters. Like I think it's like 70% or something, like 60 or 70%. My numbers are correct, but
yeah, if I'm gonna ask you the question again, Arian, if Donald Trump campaigned on Medicare for all, would you vote for him?
If he campaigned on Medicare for all and everything, all the rest of his stances were the same.
Yep. But
like, I just don't.
But he gave like a concrete step plan. Once elected, day one, I am going to enact Medicare for all. That will be my primary agenda.
All right. So if this was his, if that was his stance, he would have contradictory stances. So if you're playing devil's advocate, I need more, right? Because if you are, I guess you can. I mean, I find it hard to believe like the cognitive dissonance for being for Medicare for all, but against women making medical decisions for their own body. You know what I mean? That, to me, those are conflicting ideologies. So for him to run on both,
so I don't
make much sense to me.
I don't think that Trump actually believes in his abortion stance.
Shit, he put in mad judges to change that shit.
But I think he advocates for abortion like restrictions because he needs that base.
Agreed. I don't know that he is very strongly politically influenced by anything other than probably tax codes.
Yeah.
And everything else I think is sensationalism to rile up a base.
Has he ever had partners that have had abortions? It would shock me if Donald Trump has never paid for an abortion in his life. That dude,
probably, I don't know.
Say what you want about Mr. Trump. He has a very nice resume. He's got a good resume.
You talking about with the shorties he was?
Yeah, shorties. Yeah, Shorty King. Like I would put Trump's past up against almost anybody in terms of who he's been with. He's done some great work. But again, it would shock me if he has never been with somebody that has had an abortion. It would shock me. So that's why I think that he doesn't actually care about that issue. He just knows, okay, he's playing the game. Need these votes. I'm going to be anti-abortion because they will support me. Because all the evangelists, the like Christian right, when he was first starting to gain momentum in the polls back in 2015, they were all saying like, we can't support this guy. He goes against everything that we believe in. He threw them a bone saying like, okay, I'm an imperfect person. You might disagree with some of the things I say, some of the ways that I act, but I will fight for abortion restrictions. And they're like, okay, we can look past everything else if you agree to be with us on this issue. But I don't think he personally believes in it. I
don't think there's an issue at all that he like really cares about.
Tax code, probably.
Yeah, I guess.
Echo in here.
Yeah. No, I agree with Arian. I agree with Arian on that.
if all things considered, that would be extremely tough for me, right? Because I know the Democrats would never put up somebody who is running on Medicare for all, right? We've shown that shit time and time again. And if that is what Trump runs on, oh, that would be tough, man. I think I might. I really think I might.
So he's got he has a plan. He hasn't unveiled it yet, but he's been working on it. Remember that his plan was going to come out like next week?
Yeah,
It was right after
4 years.
it was infrastructure week, and then it was going to be healthcare week, and he was going to unveil his plan on what we're going to replace Obamacare with, and then he didn't really have a plan, but it was going to be the best plan, and it was going to give you all the best doctors, and he was going to negotiate for prescription drug reduction prices.
Mm-hmm.
The plan never really came out. I think that was kind of an oversight. Maybe it did come out. Maybe I just didn't pay attention to it. But if this was his plan, I really do think that he would win in a landslide. I think he would draw so many votes, many votes from the left.
Well, not only that, the Democratic voter base right now is very disgruntled with Joe Biden, especially like leftists, far leftists, with this whole Israel-Palestine conflict, and how they're really not fucking with Joe Biden right now. And so if you have a Trump that comes and bangs for Medicare for all, it's like they're already talking about not voting for Joe. And so like that they blamed establishment Democrats blamed leftists for voting for Bernie over Hillary in 2016. They'll blame that on that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Joe Biden is upsetting his far left constituents with a lot of the things he's done, but not just. Like one big issue is they could easily wipe out student loan debt, which is what he ran on. Part of what he ran on, and they feel like he hasn't done enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be. I mean, if he wants to, to me, that would be the most united thing that Trump could do to unite the country, because he could bring far right people who are, no matter what he says, they love him. They could bring him together with leftists and say Medicare for all, somehow convince people to, let's do it.
Yeah. It would give a lot of people a lot to think about. I would have a lot to think about for sure. Like
I would too.
It would be because it would save people's lives. It would benefit a lot of working class people. It would protect a lot of people from going bankrupt if they get into an accident. It would be I think that's the one thing that any candidate could do that would bring the most improvement to everyday people's lives in America. I'm dealing with the healthcare system right now. It sucks.
Yep.
Sucks.
Because I mean I'm a policy based voter, so I don't really vote on sensationalism. Like I don't really care about the culture war shit. I vote like on policy that I feel like will help the working class people. Like that's mine. So like you have two different trains of thought. If a lot of the reasons, people want Medicare for all is because right now people's healthcare is tied to their jobs, and that's a really sticky situation because of the job market, and different leverages that ownership holds over employees in to begin with. And so that policy would alleviate a lot of stress from the working class. Like I know plenty of people who just are regular workers that don't go to the hospital, can't go to the hospital because they can't afford it. So they just ride their injuries out.
Yeah.
Which is a wild way to live, man. Like that would be, I don't know, man.
Make people more tough. Deal with your injuries. Learn how to do minor medical procedures on yourself. Yeah, and with more and more people, I think in the gig economy, where they're working as independent contractors, you don't necessarily get health care from your employer. And it is bizarre, isn't it, that like in America, whether or not you have health care, whether or not you have health insurance, is predicated on who you work for. That's a really strange thing. Like most countries do not do it that way. And yeah, sure, Canada's got problems. They got some, long waiting times for sure for certain things. Some people in Europe aren't happy with their system, but I think that the majority of people in England are very happy with the is it the national, is it the NIH?
NIH, yeah.
Yeah, most people are very happy with it. It's not everybody, but it's if you compare it to what it's like in America, it's night and day. Like, no, if you ask people in America, like, are you happy with the state of healthcare in this country? I think you'd probably get like 75% of people, 80% saying no.
If you got money, you are.
Yeah, but if you got money,
That's the thing.
you're probably still upset because like nothing runs smoothly.
That's true. Yeah. Are you a single issue voter?
Single issue? No, I wouldn't say I'm a single issue voter. I'm kind of like you when it comes to policy. Like
Right.
the culture war stuff is mostly for people to fight about online, but I think it's such a popular thing to talk about because it gives people a sense of like teams that they're on.
Right.
Where it's like I'm on the right team on this outrageous video that I saw online. But if you get down to it, I'm more about like what the actual policies are.
That's why it felt very gratifying, and I don't know, this motherfucker didn't listen, but it felt gratifying telling George Santos that shit. Like, instead of wasting everybody's fucking time with these stupid ass bills that you pushing to make America's gun the national gun. Like, that shit is stupid. Like, do shit that's actually gonna help people and
Yeah.
push that shit. Like, it felt very good telling a congressman that.
Yeah, and his response was like, "Well, you have to do that to get people to pay attention to you. Or who gives a shit? I don't give a shit if people pay attention to you. You work for us."
Which really, my fellow Americans, after this, we could be done, Big D. But really, my fellow Americans, it is the biggest slight in the world to the average voter, to the regular voter. They're saying, yo, you're too fucking stupid to dig through these policies and understand what we really want to accomplish. So we have to sensationalize shit. They're talking shit about you. Like, that's literally what it is. And I can't stand that shit, dog. Go ahead.
What did you think the public satisfaction is with the NHS in England?
Oh, NHS, my guess would probably be like 55%.
29.
Oh, it's 29. It's that low?
Lowest since 1983.
Oh, what are they upset about?
More than half, 51% of respondents were dissatisfied with the NHS. Highest proportion since the survey began. The main reason people gave for being dissatisfied was wait times for hospital appointments, 69%, followed by staff shortages, 55%, and a view that the government does not spend enough money on the NHS, 50%.
So they're not satisfied because the government is not funding it enough.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm going to look into that because I know a few years ago it was way higher. So I don't know what COVID did to affect that or if it's something else, but I will look into it. I do think that across the world, our healthcare system is looked at. If you try to explain to somebody from Europe or somebody from Australia, somebody from Asia, like how we run our healthcare system in America, they get very confused. They're like, well, that makes no sense at all. And it's like, yeah, you're kind of right. Like I think every place has their problems, but ours is pretty bad over here. All right, so speaking of Santos, didn't he just survive?
Was he? I didn't know he was.
I think they did a vote on Santos's expulsion from the House, and he survived. He got the votes. Well, I didn't think anybody supported him.
31 Democrats joined Republicans to keep Santos.
That I would love to talk to the people that wanted to keep, especially like, who are the Democrats that voted like, let's keep this guy around?
See if you look that up.
I will.
You for sure can. 213 voted not to expel him. 179 voted yes.
Oh, I think that a lot of Democrats voted to keep him around just because he would be a pain in the ass for the other Republicans because he was so unlikable that they want him around to point at him and be like, look what they're keeping in office on the other side. So to me, that's bullshit right there. It's like if there's a dude that's definitely not qualified or should not be in the House and Democrats vote for him to stick around so that they can use him to make fun of Republicans for, that's taking away from like the entire mission of what you're supposed to be doing, working for the American people.
Oh, this makes no sense. Rashida Tlaib voted for him.
Probably for that same reason.
I would love to hear her reasoning.
I think it's because they want him around so they can make fun of him.
Jamie Raskin.
Like, I'll put it this way: if Democrats, who would be like the least qualified person in the world to serve as a Democrat? Big T. Who's like the worst lib out there?
Most of them that are already serving.
Who's like one person that you absolutely hate that you can't stand?
In Congress or not?
No, not in Congress.
Olbermann.
Okay, so if Keith Olbermann was elected to the House of Representatives, and then he just like went on his normal everyday tirades and just made no sense, alienated everybody, brought pictures of dogs that were about to be killed in the next 5 minutes if you don't adopt them. Would you want him to serve on the Democrats just so you could be like, look how fucked up the Democrats are?
I don't particularly care one way or the other. They have enough of those already.
Yeah. So it's a weird move to keep him around just to say that, hey, we're the good guys, you're the bad guys. That doesn't make you a good guy. All right, so that's our politics funhouse. Politics funhouse on Macrodosing. We got Tennessee Minute. We got an update on what's going on at the University of Tennessee.
Big game this week. Missouri, number 13 against number 14. Probably biggest game of the year, all things considered. It should be fun. We're 1-point favorite on the road. And if we win that and Ole Miss beats Georgia, then we play Georgia for the East.
Right. So you put out your theory on Mondays or on Tuesday's episode that it's not the craziest thing in the world to imagine the University of Tennessee in the college football playoff. Did you get a lot of pushback from people that said actually it is crazy?
I have no idea. I don't get mentions on Twitter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you don't check those.
I don't care.
I think you probably did get a little bit of feedback on that, but that's fine. We can move past that.
Oh man, Big T, I seen this Vince Staple clip that reminded me of you the other day. They was like, "What do you think about the criticism, of your albums?" I don't know if you ever heard Vince Staples talk, but he's one of the funniest motherfuckers, but coolest dudes you ever meet. And he's like, "I don't give a fuck." He's like, "Yeah, but they're your fans." He's like, "I don't give a fuck." He's like, I listen I appreciate you listening, but it's as far as it goes." That's what everybody you be, Big T. It's funny as shit.
I don't disagree.
Shout out Vince Staples, that's the homie.
Yeah, so there's been a small update in the Connor Stallion saga ongoing that we've covered on this show quite a bit. Did you see that he got in trouble with like his homeowners association?
Oh yeah, I wrote a blog about it. So he was running a vacuum cleaner refurbishment business out of his home. Did you see the picture of all the vacuums on his porch?
Wait, is that not the same? That's a plot from Better Call Saul.
Is it?
Like
I don't know.
the dude that makes everybody disappear is a vacuum refurbisher.
Okay, no. So he was running a vacuum cleaner repair business out of his house. Gets sued by his homeowners association, represents himself in court, and writes a letter to the court saying he thinks this is this guy down the street, Jeff, who's a Michigan State fan. He thinks he's up to this to distract Connor Stallions with frivolous lawsuits so that he can't keep busy making Michigan football great again. He's my favorite character like ever.
Yeah. He's the best.
And then last night it comes out, I'm not even all caught up on this, about he and Blake Corum apparently have a business together.
Uh-huh.
And then Blake Corum says it's not true, but I'm not even all caught up on that part. But he's an unreal character. He's awesome. He's the best.
So he had a bunch of vacuum parts that were like chilling on his porch, and then his neighbor started to give him shit about it. He's like, "You're only giving me this shit because you're a Spartans fan."
Yes.
And yeah.
He wrote that into the legal record defending himself.
I love this guy, man.
He's the GOAT.
He really is. If you are like an Ohio State fan, do they acknowledge that at least they wish that they had a Connor Stallions, or are they still in their mindset of like, this is so Michigan, look at them cheating?
I think you can't take anything seriously from Michigan fans or rival opposing fan bases.
Yeah.
Because they're both just saying what they should say, which is, if you're a Michigan fan, like, everyone cheats, whatever. And if you're an opposing fan, like, they were egregiously breaking the rules, they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah.
The truth is somewhere in the middle.
If you're a Michigan fan, you are you're doing like, I need due process. Like, give me the due process.
Yeah. There has never been a more must-win game for Michigan than Ohio State this year.
I agree.
They have to win that game.
Oh, the level of gamesmanship and preparation that Ohio State's going to have to go through to like make sure that their signs are ironclad. It's going to be top secret. Like 3 people are going to know those signs, and that's it.
They should just do like send a guy into the huddle with the play every time.
Yeah. Yeah, they should.
Pee-wee football.
Yeah.
Reverse right. What's they records?
They're both 9-0.
Oh, it's like top 5 shit then.
Yeah, Ohio State's number 1, Michigan's 3 or 4.
Oh, that'll be a fun game to watch if they hold on.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
They both should be undefeated. Michigan plays Penn State this week, but the next big game James Franklin wins will be the first. So they
I've
should.
always felt like the Big Ten schedule was kind of weak, though. Always felt that.
I mean, they both play Penn State. Who did they? Michigan plays nobody in non-conference every year. Did Ohio State play somebody? Oh, Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Big
It's always
win.
like I would like to see like Michigan and like USC, Michigan,
Well,
Virginia Tech. You know,
next
you
year.
never see that shit. But they do.
Well, next year USC, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA join the Big Ten.
Oh,
You knew that. We've talked about that.
definitely forgot.
Yeah, they just came out with the schedules recently. I believe I know USC plays Michigan, I think.
That's fire, dog. That's fire. I would like to see. That's why I like to see the conferences mix it up a little bit too. You know what I mean? Let me get some Big Ten SEC games, man.
That'd be great if they did like a Big Ten SEC challenge.
That would be fun, man.
Yeah, so
because like those are like the best state. Like Ohio State got like some of the best, stadium presence. Michigan is supposed to be the most. Michigan. It's still Michigan and Tennessee, isn't it? Like the biggest.
Yeah,
stadiums?
but
the capacity.
But the way that Michigan Stadium is designed, you hear a lot of people. I don't know if I've only heard rivals of Michigan say this. So if you are a Wolverine fan, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I've heard that the stadium itself is not that loud because the way that it's designed, it goes out, right?
Yeah. Whereas Tennessee's built on top, like the swamp is built to keep the sound. Yeah. I've heard that too. I don't know. I never been to a Michigan. I want to go to a Michigan game. I've never been to a Michigan game.
What was the loudest stadium you ever played in?
Loudest, I would say it's between
non-Tennessee. So we can take that out of it.
Tennessee was only loud like this one time. I mean, it gets loud, but like to where it was like I was literally talking like because sometimes you get in them stadiums and it's like cracking, and it's to the point where like I'm talking and I cannot hear what I'm saying. Like that's wild, right?
Yeah.
It only got like that one time. That was 2004 when we beat Florida's red shirt. And we beat Florida.
Shout out James Wilhoit.
Yeah, that's insane that you know that.
He coached. He coached on my high school football team.
Oh, so okay, you know him now. All right. I would say Florida and LSU. Them two, those stadiums are different.
Yeah. LSU in a night game is crazy.
Yeah, we played them. It was right after there was some hurricane that hit in 2005. I forget which one.
Katrina.
That could have been it. Yeah. And so we played LSU at home at their home. It was crazy loud, like crazy, and we won that one too.
Yeah, they. I remember when that hurricane hit. I think school was canceled at LSU for like a week.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Baton Rouge didn't get it nearly as bad as New Orleans did, but Baton Rouge still got it pretty bad, all things considered. Mm-hmm. I had friends that were down there at the time, and they just kind of like stayed in their apartments for a week. It was crazy.
Yeah. But LSU is super loud. Florida's, and I think I've said this before, but like my favorite stadium to play in though for some reason was Kentucky. I loved playing at Kentucky. Like I just love the vibe of that stadium. I'm partial to blue.
Well, we win every time. Also,
that's true. But it just feels it's like I don't know. We talked about this too before, but you know how like the aesthetics of a game changes how you feel about watching a game. You know what I mean? Like how the colors mesh when you're playing somebody. So like anytime we play at Kentucky, I love the way those colors mesh together, that blue and that orange. in that stadium. It looks really dope to me.
Do uniform colors have anything to do with how you play the game? Like, if your team's wearing all white, is it harder to see like your linemen blocking for you? Is there anything to that at all? If you have like a color that, if you're wearing green, blends into the grass a little bit?
Not from my perspective, but I know excuse me, I know linemen like to wear darker colors, and they wear dark gloves because it's hard. Like you'll never see a lineman wear white gloves, or you shouldn't, because like they grab a lot, and so like they like when it's darker, it's harder to see like the holding calls that they hold like pretty much every play. And so you'll hear linemen talk about wearing darker gloves, or dark jerseys are easier to for it to get away with.
What about if you're playing a team that's wearing white? Would you wear white gloves so they blend in with the jerseys?
That might be a thing. I don't know if they've thought. I've never heard that, but that makes sense. But I know, like just in general, just the aesthetics from being a human, you see white gloves like moving way more than you do black. Like you see white moving more than black, and so it would make sense still to have like a darker tint. But I don't know. I'm sure there's science behind it.
I hate it when Chiefs players wear like yellow gloves or they have a yellow towel, because then you just think that there's flags on the field all the time.
You're not allowed to.
It's very confusing. Well, they wear like yellow accessories.
Yeah, like cleats, maybe gloves, but I don't know about towels. There's only allowed the white towels.
Okay,
so they issue those.
It's probably
a glove or something.
Yeah,
or maybe fans. I know fans, especially at Pittsburgh, they used to throw like towels on the field and stuff. Make it look like a flag.
All right, we got anything else we want to get into? Well, what about NFL? NFL stadiums. Do any NFL stadiums compare to like the sound level that you get in a college game?
There was only one game that I felt that was like that. We played Atlanta, and it was in a regular season game too. Regular season game in 2011. We were playing Atlanta, and it was like high stakes. I think we both were playing, banging for a playoff spot. And it was in Houston, and it was an atmosphere. Like everybody was like, "Oh shit," but like college, this shit is weird. Where your crowd was into it, everything. And then playoff games are pretty similar, but it's just college football is just different, man. I think people are more invested in the wins and losses. There's a student section, everybody turned up. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a different vibe. Like grandpas going to games with their sons who have sons, and this generation, like people care more about college football, like as fans. Where NFL, it's like we're enjoying. We want to see really great athletes, and yeah, you could also have that same vibe, but it's just different. College is different.
You get drunk.
A lot of times too. Like these colleges are like the lifeblood of the city too. Like Knoxville without the University of Tennessee would just be like some small little town, but it's a thriving economy because of all of the sports and the history that go behind it.
And I also think at college games, you get a lot of drunk young kids, and then you get a lot of adults that are back in the environment where they were once young drunk kids, and they try to recapture that. They're like, "Oh, I always drink 15 beers at a tailgate here," so they get drunker going in. I think at NFL games, you get obviously a lot of drunk people there, but the fact that the games are played on Sundays sometimes discourages people from going like super hard too, to the point where their Mondays will be affected by it. Can you imagine how drunk NFL fans would get if games were on Saturdays? How many more fights there would be?
Yeah.
I have to wonder if that like plays into it at all. Why they choose to
I think it could. Yeah. It's about Monday night football games never be really turned up like that. That's a fair point.
Thursday nights, on the other hand, though, I think a lot of people just don't go into work on Fridays and they'll go to a Thursday night game. I saw some of the drunkest people in my life in Landover, Maryland, when the Commanders were playing the Bears, just like swaying, just like out on their feet at a game, trying to fight anybody. There was a Commanders fan that was next to me he kept trying to fight our kicker. He kept screaming, "Hey, Joey Sly, you're weird as fuck, dude. You're so fucking weird, Joey. You fucking weirdo."
That sounds like you got a thing for him.
You're gonna lose your job, Joey. You're gonna be fired, Joey. You fucking weird guy. It's very funny.
What a strange accusation that you're yelling at somebody that you know can't hear you.
Yeah, just saying to the kicker, like, you're weird. You're weird, bro. He was doing that a lot, and every time a player on the Bears got hurt, he would be like, "Oh, what? Does your pussy hurt? Does your pussy hurt?" And he said that once, and his friend next to him like laughed the first time. And so then for the rest of the game, anytime somebody got hurt, there was like a devastating knee injury to one of the running backs, and it was right in front of us. And his leg like bent sideways because Justin Fields underthrew him on a pass. And this guy was like writhing in pain on the ground. And the dude next to me was like, "Oh, did you hurt your pussy? Is your pussy hurt, bro?" And it was like, dude, come on, man. Give it a break. You never heard, could you ever hear people in the stands when you were on the field, Arian?
Only when I was on the sidelines. Never on the field. You don't never hear that shit. On the sidelines, though, I used to talk shit to the fans. That was one of my favorite things to do. All the time. Oh my god, that shit was fun as hell. I used to talk fun because like I talk shit. Like when I talk shit, I be talking shit. I'll talk shit to his girl is next to him. I'll talk shit. It's whatever. The whole crew. I'm talking long shit. And then I think I said this to all this podcast, but there was this one in Indianapolis. Just the nicest fucking fans I've ever seen in my life, dog. Like it's like because talkers they'll be like, "Fuck you, man, you suck, you're a piece of shit," like that type shit.
Uh-huh.
And then in Indianapolis, these dudes was like, "Hey man, you're just not that good. You're not a very good running back." And then like they had another running back, so I started talking shit to them. They're like, "Hey man, we're just joking, man." And they start doing that shit, and then there's another running back. They're like, "Hey, that's a good running back." Like that's how they're talking shit to me. That's just horrible. And then afterwards, and after the game, they go, "Hey man, we were just joking. We think you're the best, man. You're great at this, man. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for showing out." Like that type of shit. I'm like, what the nice fucking fan. This is crazy.
That's a good way to like throw you off your game though.
But their shit talking was so cordial. It was like, "You're not very good." Like that's what they were saying. Now they're like, "Hey, you fucking suck. You're a bitch." There's people that would like look up shit about you, talk about your personal shit. I've had all kind of shit. I've been called that. N-bomb dropped on me, all kind of shit. But like they was just like nice, saying, "You're not a good running back." And then at the end, they didn't even believe it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys want to get into some meat of the show? We also have a great interview with Jordan Belfort coming up in a little bit, led by Billy from the New York office. We're going to talk about Quaaludes. We're going to talk about investment advice. And shockingly, he gave, I think people will be like, "Oh, he's going to like try to pitch something that's like risky." He's known for, doing some dabbling in some light fraud in his past. I actually think his investment advice is pretty normal.
It was too sound.
Yeah, some sound investment advice from Jordan Belfort, but he also does talk a lot about Quaaludes, which is great. Do you guys want to get into financial crimes? You want to talk about some of those? Let's do it. This episode is being brought to you by C4. I'm all amped up on C4. I had a C4 early this morning. Did a quick workout. I love C4. I drink it almost every day. C4 Ultimate Energy for the big game, the all-nighter, and the days that act like nights. We work hard, play harder, and do it all bigger and better than the rest. Formulated with 300 milligrams of caffeine, C4 Ultimate Energy packs an extra punch, breaks boundaries. Just ask Lil Yachty, who uses C4 Ultimate Energy to help him fuel on tour this fall. It's got zero sugar, no artificial flavors. C4 Ultimate provides supercharged energy in delicious flavors such as orange cream, fruit punch, freedom ice, Arctic snow cone. I love the orange cream. I love the fruit punch. C4 is great. I also like the blue. C4 Blue is one of my favorites. C4 Ultimate Energy. Get supercharged at c4energy.com or find it near you at findc4.com. All right, so before we get into financial crimes, quick debate. How many y'all out there use soap? Team soap? That's everybody.
Hands
Arian
up.
didn't raise his hand.
Man.
You
Guilty, man.
You didn't raise your hand. Okay, Arian uses soap. There's somebody in this office, I will not name names. There's someone who works here who is convinced that soap is a scam.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not Hank, although he did have quite the discussion.
It is a guy.
Last year. Okay, confirmed. It's a dude. Somebody here does not believe in body wash or soap. They will shampoo their hair once every couple months.
Couple weeks.
Couple weeks is what I heard. Yeah, and but they just water. They just water themselves. They just rinse themselves.
No bar
down.
of soap. No body wash.
What about deodorant?
I hope
I would
to God.
assume.
I
but
think there's deodorant involved. Yeah.
So hold on, like, so let's say he puts deodorant on a Monday.
Yeah.
And I assume he doesn't water himself every day, unless he does. I don't know.
No, I think that's the weird thing is I think he might water himself every day.
I think he's taking regular showers,
Yeah.
just sans soap.
I don't think we can say showers. He's not showering.
He's rinsing.
He's taking a
He's a rinse.
sprinkle.
Yeah.
He's rinsing. He's rinsing himself.
Yeah, he's running through the sprinkler.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This nigga has a crazy immune system, I bet. All kind of diseases he's been up against. He's been fighting everything for years. When did he stop using soap? Like, there had to be a moment where he's like, you know what?
Let me ask.
This shit whack. This soap shit's whack.
Probably when he moved out of his parents' house.
Yeah.
He wasn't confined by law anymore.
I just don't know what would have to happen to you to convince you to stop washing your body.
This, and I will not name names, but the person who is avoiding soap, like, this should not be the hill that he is on.
Why?
Anybody should be on this hill.
Right.
Nobody should be on this hill.
I think it was a shock. It's a shocking person that it would be.
See, I showered this morning, not to brag, but I did take a shower. I used body wash. My arm smells great.
Do you want to read that text exchange for me?
Oh God, what did he say?
Just the last two messages.
When did you stop using soap? It's been years.
That's insane.
That actually makes me think of him differently now.
Of course it should. He's dusty. Yo, remind me. I said this before we start recording. Remind me to show me who he is when I come to the Chicago office so that I do not dap this nigga up, because that is disgusting.
I will.
I'm gonna send you a
Like,
picture.
that's him. That's the water boy.
It's the no soap boy.
Nasty. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into some financial crimes, fraud, all that good shit. And then we'll get into our interview with Jordan Belfort in a little bit. I've got a new scam that's been popping off recently, and I'm curious to know if it's affected any of you guys, because it's happened about 3 or 4 times to me. It started actually at the Ryder Cup, Arian, when we were down in Pinehurst, and it was on like the last day. I don't know what the purpose of the scam is. I don't know how people are making money, but it's something that I think is starting to happen to a lot of people. And let me know if you've experienced it, because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Once every week or maybe every 2 weeks, I will get a phone call from a number I do not recognize. Sometimes the name will come up. So, for example, we're out on the course. I got a phone call, and it was from, it said on the caller ID, it was from somebody, I forget his first name, but let's just say Stan. Well, no, that's actually a terrible example because it's a South Park character. Let's say that it is Jonathan. It said Jonathan Marsh on it. And I was with Jake at the time. Jake's last name is Marsh. And I looked over at Jake and I said, "What's your dad's last name?" And I forget what his actual last name is, but for the sake of argument, he was like, "Oh, it's John." And I was like, "Is this his number that's calling me right now?" And Jake was like, "Yeah, that actually is his number." So I answered it, and it made like a weird sound. There was nobody on the other end. I hung up.
Bloop. It was like a bloop.
It might have been something like that, but I hung up, and then Jake texted his dad and was like, "Hey, did you just try to call PFT? Where'd you get his number from? Like, I don't think you guys have each other's numbers." And he was like, "Yeah, I just missed a call from PFT's number. Isn't that weird?" And
I've seen this.
Then I got later on that day, I got a missed call from Caleb. And I obviously know Caleb's number. And I texted him, I was like, "Hey man, did you just try to call me?" He's like, "No. Did you try to call me?" I was like, "No." And like once every couple weeks, I get a missed call from a number I don't know. So I just tried calling one back the other day. It was a number that was like in Central Texas. So I thought maybe I've still got friends and family down there. Maybe someone's trying to reach me. I called back and the guy was like, "Yeah, you know what? I missed a call from you earlier today too. I don't know what's going on." I don't know either, but it's happened to people that I've talked to. I have no idea what's going on, how they're getting into, maybe somebody's cloud is getting hacked or who knows what's going on. But there's a scam. I don't know what the purpose of it is. There's a weird robocall scam going on out there, and we need to get to the bottom of it because it's very, very weird.
I haven't experienced that one. I'm still getting the Hilton Rewards programs or the insurance thing. One that I had was like I would get a text, it'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'd be like, "Who this?" And then they'll be like, "Oh, this is Cindy." And I think it's Cindy every time. I say it three times this happened. It's like it's Cindy. It's been a while since we talked, yada yada yada. She's like, how's everything going on? And I'm like, I don't know, it's Cindy. And then she goes, "Oh, this isn't Rachel or whatever." I'm like, "Nah, this ain't Rachel." And then she'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'm so sorry." And then she'll go, "Well, you seem like a nice fellow. Like, what do you got going?" I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here, dog. Anybody that shit weak. Try another sucker, because I ain't going." But like, it's very consistent. And then she sent a picture this last time, a picture of this little nice looking Asian woman, which probably would entice people to keep going. But I was like, fuck out of here, bro.
Wow. What does she look like?
Um, I don't know, picture a pretty little Asian woman. There was like these lotus flower blooming things in the background. She was on a bridge and she's like, "You don't remember me?" I'm like, "Nigga, no."
Yeah, there's some weird scams. Like, what do you think her move was there? Like, try to get some bank account information from you?
I'm sure. Hey, I'm running low something. I don't know. There's something.
So,
My mom be cussing these motherfuckers out, dog. Some dude called her for like some insurance, and she's like, "You need to stop. You need to stop scamming people." And she's like, "Hey, lady, I'm just trying to make." She said, "Well, fuck you. You're a piece of shit." He's, "Well, fuck you." They started going at each other. Shit was hilarious, dog.
that's awesome.
Shout out to moms
Shout
begging
out.
for the common guy out there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool of her. You guys ever get the Nigerian prince scams?
Mm.
Yo, you be getting some interesting ass scams. Nah, I
I
ain't
don't
had that
I
one.
don't get I don't get those anymore. But
Okay.
Nigerian prince scams were real big back in like the early to mid 2000s, maybe even late 90s when these things started popping off on the internet. You would get an email from somebody being like, "Hey, I need your attention at the soonest possible convenience," and then they'd list some like fake name. This person just died in a car accident over in Nigeria, and they had amassed a very vast fortune, and they were actually next in line to be in succession to be like the king of Nigeria. I found your information using public record search in America, and we need an American to lay claim to this person's title, and we need to pass the money on to the rightful heir. In exchange for you helping me with this, I will give you $200,000 of the like $10 million that's being passed down. And so they would just get people to like send them money to try to get this fake Nigerian prince's death processed over in Nigeria, passed through the court system, and then you would get repaid in the amount of like $200,000 once everything was settled. And a shocking amount of people started to fall for it. But I used to fuck with those people big time. I used to have them like jumping through hoops. I would have them like wasting their time. There's a website that I would use. It was called 419eater.com because the Prince scam is called a 419 scam. That's what they call it in Nigeria when they deal with fraud and like wire fraud. It's called a 419 violation. So people would go to these insane links and make the Nigerian scam artists like send them pictures of them holding a sign, basically just like roasting themselves. And get them to write like whatever they want on there. Actually, I should get back into it and have them just make fun of Hank or something. But yeah, that was a big scam for a long time. Took a shitload of money from like old people in America. That was like the OG internet scam.
Has any of y'all ever got by a scam and afterwards you're like, all right, you got me.
I'm trying to think. I'm usually pretty good at sniffing them out.
I
don't think so.
once. It's pretty scammy.
What was it?
I don't know I'm sure it was a dude. So it was back when I was using Facebook. So this was like pre 2000. It was like 2004, 2010, like. And so we was talking for a little bit. This is before I was in the league. And so we was talking for a little bit and exchanging, nice messages back and forth. And then I was like, "Yo, send me a pic." And she was sending a pic back and she was baddie. And but something just didn't feel right? Something didn't feel right. And so I was like, "Yo, send me a picture with you holding a spoon." And she sent a picture back with her at a computer, and like the spoon was like Photoshop, so it was just, just like sitting there randomly in the picture. I was like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck?" And so, and she was like making a light of it and stuff like that, and so I knew something was up. And after a while, and then she started with the "Hey, my little brother's sick with cancer. You can help out with his bills and stuff like that." I was like, "Nah, I can't. I won't be helping you out with that." So I stopped. So, but I did. She had me going for a little while though. I got. I didn't get no money up or nothing, but had me going.
You ever been scammed, Big T?
No. I never answer the phone if it's a number I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've never, replied to an email or anything like that. So
They've also gotten pretty good at like spoofing your number or a number close to it when they're calling you for a scam.
yeah, I get calls. I got one while we were doing this podcast. I get it. It's from a 615 number, which is Nashville. And I never answer it. I assume that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Damn.
get the auto insurance. Your warranty on your vehicle is about to expire. I love getting those in New York because, like, bitch, I don't have a car. And so it's always funny.
I had one dude. There was an email, and this dude was like, "Hey, I just bought the domain name arianfoster.com." He said, "I'm about to turn it into a porn site." He's like, "So unless you give me this money," I was like, "That's dope, man. Let me know when it's up."
I love that. That's that's like that would be the funniest thing ever. I'm gonna go to arianfoster.com right now and just for research purposes.
What is it? Because I literally responded with that. I was like, "Let me know what it's up."
All right, hang on. Let me. I'm actually getting it's a scam call right now.
Ooh, let's do it.
Hello, this is Eric. You're on Macrodosing. Yeah, that's right, bitch.
ArianFoster.com redirects to your page on NFL.com, which is interesting.
Huh.
Someone had to set that up.
Yeah, it's probably my PR dude from back in the day.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They don't have a picture of you. That's kind of insulting.
Oh no, wait. I'm on ArianFoster.com and it says you can buy it for $2,000.
When I did it, it took me to NFL.com.
Did you just Google Arian Foster?
No, look, ArianFoster.com,
Uh-huh.
and it takes you to that NFL page.
How do you spell it?
The way you spell his name?
I'm looking at ArianFoster.com.
We entered the same thing.
On sale for $2,079.
I got perfect domain that it's on sale for $2,079.
Yeah, perfect domain. But does Big T own ArianFoster.com?
I think so.
Was it him? I'm gonna turn it into a porn site.
No.
I'm thinking I should buy this
And you should turn it into a porn site.
and turn it into a porn site.
Okay, the tags on this are Foster, Arian Foster, Advance, Back, Champion, Cherish,
That sounds like a porn star tab right there.
Harbor, Nurse, Stimulate. Good tags on this.
Back champion.
Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten scammed by anybody per se. I did at one point, so this kind of ties into the fraud that I was going to talk about a little bit, which was Wells Fargo, and I won't get into it super deep. We should probably do like a full episode on that. But the Wells Fargo scam, they got fined a whole bunch of money. They were committing some massive fraud. But it happened, the same fraud happened to me not at Wells Fargo, but at Chase. So what Wells Fargo was doing, they were incentivizing their salespeople, which are like, if it's a teller, if it's a relationship banker that works at a physical Wells Fargo location, they were putting unrealistic quotas on them for how many credit cards you had to open up in a single month or a single week. So the salespeople were under massive pressure. Anybody that you talk to on the phone, under massive pressure to sell all these credit cards, or else you could lose your job. And they were crazy numbers. Like, they would do research on how many people came into these branches, and it was like, well, you'd have to open up a credit card for like 75% of people that would come in to do banking transactions, people that already had an account. You'd have to put them into like a credit card at a 75% rate, which is ridiculous. Like, that's a crazy close rate. It would never happen. And what the salespeople would eventually do, because they didn't want to lose their jobs. I mean, granted, it's unethical and it's illegal and it's wrong, but they didn't want to lose their jobs. So they would just take people that came in and they would open up credit cards in their name without telling them. And then the credit cards would get like mailed to their house, and then they'd be like, what's going on? I didn't open up this card. Or sometimes a lot of people would open it up and be like, well, I didn't order this card. There must be a mistake. And they'd tear it up and forget about it. That happened to me at Chase back when I lived in Austin, because they were doing a thing where you opened up an account, you got like $100 or $200 bonus whenever you set up like a checking or savings. I didn't have a lot of money back then, so an extra $100, $200 was a big deal. So I went in to open up an account, and then I got a notification, like, I don't know, a week or two later, saying that a credit card had been opened up in my name at Chase, and the card was sent to my apartment. And I was like, well, I definitely didn't do this. Somebody just signed me up when I was in that bank opening up the checking account. I gave them all my information. They also set up a credit card for me. So that happened at Wells Fargo on like massive levels, where tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people got signed up for credit cards that they did not want to be involved in, and they had to pay billions of dollars worth of fines after that. But like, it's that easy for people to just, if you go into a bank, you can get scammed at your own bank.
That shit's crazy.
Yeah. If you are the type of person that doesn't pay attention to your credit, then it can very easily fly under the radar. Sometimes they won't even like send the cards to the right address. That's where it gets dangerous. They'll like send it to an address that they know that you're not at, and they meet their quotas, so they get a bonus or they get to keep their job. They hope nobody finds out. Meanwhile, your credit's taking a hit because you opened up another line that you don't know about.
Credit in general is a wild concept, but that's fucked up.
Yeah. Big T, what did you want to talk about?
So I did Sam Bankman-Fried because I knew about him just from him being in the news, but I never really understood the full scope of his deal.
Mm-hmm.
So he obviously was running FTX, the crypto exchange, which kind of like popped up out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden it was just on every Major League Baseball umpire's uniform, and it was every commercial.
Miami Heat?
Yeah.
Their arena?
Yeah, everything was just FTX all of a sudden. And then he also had his hedge fund, which was Alameda Investments or Alameda something, whatever it's called. So he claimed that those two had nothing to do with each other, but he was actually taking all the money that was invested into FTX, loaning it to his own hedge fund, and then making extremely risky investments with that money that he told people had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Which is where he got in a good bit of trouble.
Yeah. So he started out working for, I think it was Jane Street Investments in New York. And then he quit after a couple of years, moved out to the Bay Area, started Alameda. And he's, him and his girlfriend, I forget her name. What's her name?
Claire or something, I think.
Yeah, they're both in a lot of trouble. They are big believers in effective altruism, which is the premise behind that. It's kind of like the prosperity gospel. It's actually not that different from it. So if you watch a preacher, like a televangelist, a lot of times they believe that like your reward on earth for being a good Christian is that you will become wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. Kind of boiled down to that. Basically, they just try to get people to give them money and saying you're going to get closer to heaven the richer I get. And if you know anything about the Bible, that's not anything close to what it says. What does it say in the Bible about like it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man
to enter the kingdom of heaven? That is correct.
Yeah, so they kind of ignore that part of the Bible. But effective altruism is, I guess it caught on 10, 15 years ago. And the premise behind it is you should get as wealthy as humanly possible so that you can then give away all that money and make a difference in as many people's lives as you can around the world. So the reason why you're amassing
Jay-Z,
enormous
Jay-Z line for everything.
What'd he say?
Yeah, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them.
Yeah. So this one is like, I need to be as rich as humanly possible if you want me to help poor people. And that's a powerful narcotic to believe in, isn't it? It's like, because you think that you're doing everything for all the right reasons. You're telling people you're doing everything for all the right reasons.
You're telling yourself, more importantly.
Yes, like this is a good thing that I'm doing, no matter how I'm getting this money, no matter who I'm scamming, no matter how dishonest I'm being in terms of, like Big T said, loaning money to my other companies. At the end of the day, I'm doing it for good reason, so it's all fine. It's all good to do. And so it sounds like his girlfriend was really into that. She was like an insane math whiz. And they got into it. And did you read anything about like their apartment that they had in the Bahamas? The complex that they had? They had, I think, like 10 people that were living there. And it was just all like weird polyamorous relationships where there was like a sexual hierarchy.
So I'd heard about that.
Yeah, they were all banging each other.
Not judged though, it's not judged.
I'm not going to judge, but Sam Bankman-Fried, I think, was the head of the hierarchy, so he could sleep with anybody. And then if he wanted to take anybody's girl, he could do that. And
Well, that's cult vibes.
yeah, big time, huge cult vibes.
Okay, we can judge away then.
He had so there's about $8 billion in customer deposits to FTX that ended up like being loaned out to Alameda that were then basically squandered away. 1.4 billion in real estate bought by Bankman-Fried for himself and his parents.
That's a shitload of real estate.
How can you possibly spend that much money? I mean, if you get a $50 million house, that's a crazy house.
Yeah.
And that's
Like, you gotta try.
that's 28 $50 million houses.
He definitely bought an island. We're
you'd have to.
We're talking island money at that point.
Yeah, that's crazy.
1.4 billion in real estate, 775 million in loans to just two of his top executives, 40 million in unnamed political contributions, though it's known he gave heavily to Democrats. So this guy was just taking all the, I mean, that's why, you can name an arena and stuff when you're just taking all the money people give you and doing whatever the fuck you want with it.
I think he said that he wanted to pay for the naming rights up front, like lump sum, which it was, I forget how much money the Miami Heat arena cost, but it was like hundreds of millions of dollars. He's like, maybe I'll just write a check for it. He had
The greed and the hubris of these people is always fascinates me because, like, if they just kick it, if you just chill, get you a modest, nice little house and a cool little savings, you could get away with these motherfuckers that be getting popped can get away with this shit. But they just get so like greedy that they want islands, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's insane though. You could actually get away with this shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was like very, very, I guess he was flashy. He wanted to make himself known as like a celebrity, like an image. He was like a brand. So he would have these conferences down in the Bahamas.
Another Jay-Z line.
What?
Too much flossing, too much Sam Rothstein.
Yeah.
Sam Rothstein was a dude from, I think he was on American Greed actually, but he was a dude who, again, he had a super scam. I think it was a pyramid scheme. A Ponzi scheme. And he was like just super flashy, like super like just doing the most. And that's what tipped people off to start to investigate him. So he could have got away with shit.
Again, you start to get high on your own supply and you're like, you know what? I am that big of a deal. Let's just be super public about it. And so he would have these big conferences. Bill Clinton famously went to one of his conferences. He hung out with Tom Brady. Tom Brady may have lost a lot of money in this. I don't know if they've like publicly disclosed how much Tom was involved in, but he would have like celebrities that would come down, chill on his island with him, go to his complex. There was a Super Bowl commercial where it was like huge celebrities, and then Larry David was at the end saying like, "Don't invest in this. I'm never wrong about these things." And then Larry David was named in the lawsuit against FTX for like pumping it up, even though in the commercial Larry David was like, "No, don't do this."
Yeah.
But that was like the funny joke at it, was like Larry being the one that's not involved in it. So yeah, it's I think it remains to be seen what the outcome's going to be, but I love the courtroom sketches of Sam and his girlfriend. They're so funny. Have you seen those?
Yeah. Well, he got convicted a week ago.
Okay.
But the sentencing isn't until March, I believe.
I wonder what he's going to get. But the courtroom sketches, it makes him look like a supermodel, which he doesn't at all.
And she
What's his
looks
total damage? Do you have a total damage number?
I saw 8 billion somewhere, but that was just the number of investigators have been able to say where a fraction of the 8 billion in lost customer deposits went. So yeah, it seems like about $8 billion that he did whatever he wanted with.
Yeah, I think when you start dabbling in the bees, that's when they that's when 10 plus years starts getting thrown around. 10, 15, 20.
Mm-hmm. And he had a lot of people were mad at him even before he kind of collapsed, because he was trying to be the one that was writing all the regulations for crypto. And so if you're a diehard crypto believer, you don't want it to be regulated. You want the market, you want the technology to regulate itself. But Sam was trying to be the guy that was helping to write the regulations in Congress. And so they all started to turn on him. And they're like, hey, you should investigate these loans. You should investigate his own token that he's developing that you can use, that he just like made up out of nowhere, that you can use on the FTX channels. And shit crashed down pretty hard on him. They were apparently also doing like a shitload of speed and just stimulants all over that office. Seems like it would be a fun place to work for like a week. And then he'd be like, okay, this something fishy's going on here. They would also, everybody that worked there in the Bahamas, you got free groceries, free car, free gas, free housing. If you were an employee of FTX, you would get unlimited amounts of loans, just like Big T said, written out to you, so you could have access to enormous amounts of cash at any time. Sounds like a fun place, really. It's a fun place to hang out for a little bit, and then it all comes crashing down.
Just do crimes.
Just do crimes together.
Each of his 7 counts carries a maximum of 5 to 20 years.
Okay.
So I bet he ends up getting 20.
That sounds about right to
25?
me. Yeah, that sounds right.
I mean, they're not going to give him even 5 on all 7 of those would be 35. They're not going to give him that much.
Yeah. Yeah, 20 sounds fair to me. What did Bernie Madoff get?
Why didn't this guy, did he not try to like get a deal? Would they not do that for him?
I don't know.
Because it seems like the case against him was pretty open and shut.
When the feds get
He was
involved.
the head, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So there's not much deals that could be made when you're the deals are for the lower level people who can build the bigger case against the head.
I assume they still would have tried to like, listen, we'll give you 10 years right now. We don't have to deal with all this. You'll be out.
Yeah, you don't have to go to trial.
I don't know, because those are the cases that they want to set the precedents on, right? Especially like DAs that are trying to like, make a name for themselves. To be like, I don't play this shit. You know what I mean? Like we crack down hard on white collar crimes. Like that's to my knowledge, the reason why like they have these like the worker bees that can take plea deals so that they can give up more evidence to go get the big dog.
I got a question for you guys. How come every single time there's a massive financial crime that's uncovered in the United States, at least, we prosecute people after the fact, after everybody's lost all their money? Have you ever heard of a case in which the regulators, the U.S. government, has like actively uncovered a crime as it's going on and stopped the crime from continuing? Or is it always after the house of cards falls down, like Bernie Madoff, for example?
I feel like if that happened, you probably wouldn't hear about it.
I think you
because
would.
What's there to report, really?
Well, because the law enforcement branch, every time somebody finds like 5 pounds of weed in the back of somebody's car with like a Derringer pistol, you'll see the cops take a picture of it in front of a table, being like, "Look at this big bust that we uncovered." I feel like the SEC, Securities Exchange Commission, if they found a crime, stopped it from happening, they'd be like, "Look what we just did. We stopped a $10 billion scheme. We redistributed as much of the money as possible, and now this guy's going to prison for a long time." Like they never uncover the shit until after everybody gets fucked.
Because it's illegal to possess firearms. It's illegal to possess drugs. It'd be like the minority report for white collar crimes. Like it's a victimless crime until somebody's a victim. You know what I mean? Like you can't really prosecute what we about to do. I guess you can in a sense, but
well,
that
no,
would be
because
hard
they've already committed the crime. So like with Bernie Madoff, he was sending falsified reports to everybody. He had a history of
But that's what I'm saying.
transaction.
That's the crime, though.
Yeah, but
So
he got away with it
to-
until the market collapsed, and his investors wanted money back because they were losing money in other investments, and then he couldn't pay the old depositors because he wasn't getting any new ones in, and
But
other
that's what
people
I'm
were getting
saying.
money.
That would be the crime, though. And so, in order for people to get tipped off that something's going wrong, there has to be a victim in the crime. It's not like you know what I mean. So I think that's
There was one.
it's-
There was one dude that was all over. He was on Bernie's bumper from like the year 2000. I think he worked at
I know you're talking about. I know the dude was blowing a horn.
He was like locked on to the Bernie Madoff scheme like a fucking pit bull. And in 2000, I think it was somewhere around 2000. He was working at a rival trading firm, and his boss was like, "Hey, Bernie's running this hedge fund, this investment property. We need to figure out how he's making all this money because we gotta do whatever he's doing because he's knocking it out of the park." And so this one dude, he looked at what Bernie Madoff was doing, his history of like where what the successes were, what an investment 5 years ago, what that would net you. And he was like, within 5 minutes, I knew that Bernie was running a scheme. And within 4 hours, I could prove that he was running a scheme mathematically. And he sent like, I think like 6 or 7 packets of information to the SEC being like, look what this dude's doing. Very, very clearly a scam that he's running. Nobody can pick stocks like this. Only 2 outcomes we have is 1, he's making it up, running a Ponzi scheme. 2, he's got insider information and he's making these trades using illegal stock tips that he's using to beat the market with. So either way, this guy's so full of shit. Mathematically, it's a fact he's full of shit. And the SEC didn't do anything about it for, I think, 9 years until it all crumbled. But like, what does the SEC do besides just wait for some shit to go down and then come up, pick up the pieces, and then prosecute the guy after the fact? Because like they should be, I feel like they should be proactive. Like in terms of fraud, maybe it's the very nature of fraud, but there should be somebody proactively looking to see what scams are going on. Like deregulation doesn't really work in the financial
I'm on the fence
sector.
about that. Okay, so yeah, it sucks that people get fucked over in the process. But let's say they stop him early, right? Then they just give him a slap on the wrist because the amount of crime is not that heavy, right? The levity of the situation has not reached the billions of dollars, right? You just scammed out a couple investors, whatever the case may be. Then you give him a slap on the wrist. He finds different ways to innovate his scam to where he can fuck over more people. It's kind of like you damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah. Do you think that
because I don't think he's gonna stop scamming once he gets slapped in the wrist by the SEC. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
he's gonna find different ways to do what he do.
Do you think that people that get into the SEC that work in financial crimes, like they're not the most financially literate people out there? Like they might have an understanding of how the finance system works, but the people that are actually working inside the system know way more about how you can scam people, how to do things like that, than the people that are in charge of enforcing it.
I would think so.
Like the only way to do it is to go after it like we go after organized crime, like we go after cartels and drug dealers and get like people infiltrated. Like if you get people out of college that would be working for a hedge fund, like these quantitative geniuses that are math wizards, if you recruit people like that to work on the inside of places undercover, but you're really an SEC agent, like that's really the only way to, I would think, to maybe stop some of this stuff before it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure right now there's some people getting fucked over, or there's some like elaborate scam going on that is, outside of the realm of what the SEC or the CIA is able to detect in all these scams. I mean, the FBI is able to detect in all these scams because like it's just leaps and bounds. Like I can't imagine like the amount of crimes being committed digitally right now.
Yeah.
It's like the software, like it's crazy. And so there has to be some shit out there that's it's going down that is undetectable thus far to the overarching powers.
Anytime you get a spam link or a spam email, you forget that there's somebody out there that's like working behind a computer that's actively doing that to you.
Dog, I had my last computer I had. This is a new computer, but but last week I caught a virus, and the dude that built it for me, he was teaching me how to like get rid of the virus. And so what it was doing was like if like say I would open up Google, it would reroute it through Yahoo, and then like it would take so it had like these folders that open. And so I'm sitting here, it took me like 3 hours to do it. It was fascinating doing it, but I had to literally go into the computer, open up these folders and delete them. But every time I would delete something, it would spawn a new one. That was the code was written to spawn a new folder that hid everything inside of it again. And so I had to keep doing it until I finally caught the right one that finally deleted everything. But I had to continue to do it. It took me like 3 hours. So it's like, and that was just a small one, just trying to get like, I don't know, my credit card information or whatever the case may be. But it's like the amount of time it takes to sit and think of that shit is fucking diabolical, first off.
Yeah.
But secondly, it's just like that was a very low level virus that I had. And so there's people out here doing way worse shit, way more elaborate shit that I can't even fathom right now.
Yeah. Somebody sat down and wrote a computer program that was like, yeah, when they delete this, it's going to spawn up again. And then I'm going to reroute their traffic through Yahoo and make money somehow. I don't know how that works in terms of like actually getting money off people.
I think sometimes like they'll reroute, just like any ads, I guess they'll reroute you to a website that brings them a bunch of traffic.
Yeah, like affiliate links.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get more hits on whatever scam website they're running because somebody might have paid them to get more hits on that website.
Yep.
It's crazy out there. Oh, there's also another email scam going around where you'll get an email and it will be from somebody that claims that they've hacked your webcam, and they say like, I saw you doing stuff and looking at websites that you shouldn't be looking at, and I accessed your webcam, basically saying like, hey, caught you jerking off, and I've got a video of you jacking off, so unless you pay me money, I'm going to send it to every contact that you have in your email. And people typically pay for those because they don't want their aunt to be sent a picture of them with their penis out.
I had that one. handed to me. Again, I replied. I was like, do your thing, bro. I don't give a shit.
Arian Foster sex tape.
There was one. Oh yeah, he said. What did he say? He said, I have access to your webcam and the websites that you visited. He said, nice taste, by the way. That's what he said. But he goes, he goes, that was the premise of a Black Mirror episode. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah.
Where that little kid, he got caught beating his stuff. There was a dude watching him, but he was beating his stuff to like child porn, which that would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. In that case, that motherfucker's a hero.
Yeah, true. But didn't he have him do some fucked up shit?
It was the spoiler alert. But it was that. So it was a bunch of people who were watching child porn. They would have him do like crazy like tasks and things like that. And they didn't know how they were connected. They was like, hey, I have to do this. I'm sorry, I have to do this. And so he would go around the entire city. And at the very end, it was like, you have to fight to death.
Yeah.
And there was like a drone watching and stuff like that. So you have to fight each other to death, or else I release this information.
And then at the end, he just called the cops anyway.
Yeah, he did it anyway, which is like, you're kind of sick, but I mean, hey man, if you're gonna play with somebody, play with them.
There's more scams out there that are becoming more prevalent these days with like computer hacking. Ransomware scams are big. Those are actually like sneaky genius. To a certain extent, I almost respect the ransomware hackers because they.
What's that? What's a ransomware?
So they'll go after businesses. They'll go after like Fortune 500 companies. And they'll send like phishing emails where you'll get something in like your company inbox and it looks legit. You click on a link in there. It says like recover a password, or like your Amazon order has been backlogged. Click here to adjust it. It's not actually from Amazon. You click that link. Then you give access to your computer and ideally your entire business's network to a scammer, and they upload malicious software into your system, and they shut down like your entire business's software, so you can't run your business because a scammer has shut it down. And then they'll send an email being like, to get your software systems back online, all you have to do is just send us $200,000, whatever denomination they're asking for, and we will send you an unlocked key. So then you can just go back to business as usual. And most of the times, if it's like a big company, they'll just straight up send you that cash. They'll send you a check and be like, please give me my systems back. Then they'll unlock it and you go about your day. But it's like hijacking. They like temporarily hijack businesses' websites in exchange for cash. They're like pirates. We got pirates on the internet.
Yeah. That shit's it's scary, man. Especially to people who ain't any kind of tech savvy. I'm tech savvy enough to know I'm like Big T. I'm never clicking no link that I have no idea what it's about. I'm not clicking. I don't care. It's not gonna happen. Just advice to you people out there. Don't be clicking links to people. Even one of my homies got because his homies Instagram got hacked. They sent him links like, hey, you want to make some extra cash? You turn 3,003 whatever. Clicked it, and then all of a sudden his shit is hacked. His whole Instagram page is gone. Just stop clicking links.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, we've had a couple people here at the office that have gotten Instagram scammed for sure.
They was trying to turn every time somebody tell me they got Instagram scam, I was like, you trying to turn 300 and 3,000, wasn't you?
Oh, the bots are out of control these days too. The bots and Instagram comments are just wild.
I've responded to a couple on a Macrodosing account. Like, type, or I'm giving 5,000 to whoever says I have faith. Some shit like that, and I'll always be like, I have faith.
Let's get the money.
Let's do it. Pay up.
That's what I would do if I had that kind of money. I would just comment. I would make spam sounding posts on social media, but then actually follow through. I'm gonna change somebody's life.
How would you do? They'd have to drop like a Cash App or some shit like that.
Yeah, or you can do it in crypto. I guess that's what a lot of these scam people do, or the ransomware people. It's like, you have to pay me off in Bitcoin, then I'll release your company's software back into your own hands.
How are the crypto bros doing, man? I haven't checked up on the monkey face ape brothers in a while, man. How's that whole shit going?
Good question, Arian. I think Bitcoin's back up again, or at least it was last week. But the Bored Apes are up to no good. So the ape family, they had, I think it was called ApeCon. They did a Bored Ape convention in Hong Kong. I think it was last week, and it looked like, like you would expect it to. A bunch of people wearing sweatshirts with the apes on them, a lot of like neon bracelets, and they had a party in Hong Kong celebrating their ape ownership, and and now they're complaining that they got like poisoned or tear gassed, and it's a big nightmare. I'm actually going to look it up right now to get more information about what happened. Bored Ape Convention. I'll tell you in just a second how it all went down.
But those are like virtually worthless now.
Yeah, the apes.
I love that.
They were worthless before, but
now
everyone agrees they're worthless.
You remember, was it Paris Hilton that went on, I want to say Jimmy Fallon, to announce that she had bought a Bored Ape, and then Jimmy had to be like, "Oh wow, look at this, it's so cool," and like gave her like a round of applause, and everybody in the audience was like, "Yeah, great job buying this ape, Paris."
What do you think of Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy Fallon, how do I put this? Not a fan.
I don't think I am either.
No.
Oh, I'm his biggest
Except for
fan.
Fever Pitch, greatest rom-com of all time.
Oh,
but
so true.
He's apparently a dickhead to the people that work for him.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I have heard that. I literally have been the biggest Jimmy Fallon fan since like he was like the late night host, and I used to record every episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My mom like got me tickets. Like, it wasn't as easy to get tickets for those kinds of shows like years ago when I was in high school. My mom like called every single day for like weeks because you had to like wait on hold to like see if you would make the cut. And then she finally got them for me for like my 16th birthday, and it was like the best.
Oh wow.
But I get why people are like, he's kind of like he exaggerates a lot with people. I feel like he's over the top with his like laughter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I love him still.
I don't
Okay.
think I've ever really paid attention to, like, I don't know enough about him.
Apparently, he's a major cokehead.
Yeah, I can see
Is
that.
I
that
think
is that
he's just-
founded or is that?
No, I think he's just like an alcoholic. Not an alcoholic, but he
that too.
drinks a lot.
Yeah, he's known as like
Yeah.
a heavy partier.
He's like gotten injuries because of too much drinking.
Yeah.
Haven't we all?
Is that where he hurt his hand?
Yeah.
His ring finger got stuck
Yeah.
on something. Yeah.
I think so.
All right, I've got the news article right here. More than a dozen attendees of a Bored Apes NFT conference held over the weekend are reporting suffering serious eye issues believed to be caused by lighting at the event. Reports emerged on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, that people who went to Ape Fest 2023, held in Hong Kong from November 3rd and 5th, suffered vision and eye injuries. Issues reported by attendees inside photokeratitis. Issues reported by attendees include photokeratitis, a condition also known as welder's eye, that occurs after prolonged and excessive exposure to ultraviolet light. It's a painful condition that can lead to temporary blindness. It's unclear what the cause of it was. And there was one Bored Ape enthusiast, Adrian Zadunchik, said, as dozens of others, I've almost lost sight this night. I'm being taken care of by the doctors now and have only good intentions writing this post. So far, 30 hours since woke up with severe eye burn, I visited emergency hospital and eye clinic and spent there a total of 6 hours. So it might have been the lighting. Like they got too turnt. The strobe lights were too intense and it fucked up everybody's eyes. So it wasn't tear gas. That's my mistake. That's bad reporting on my part. But there were 2,000 people that went there, and it looks like a dozen or 2 dozen had severe eye issues. That's tough.
Well,
Feel bad for the ape community.
I don't. I actually do not at all. So shout out to whoever fucked with the lights.
Okay, so Bored Ape issued a statement on it. They said, apes, we are aware. I'm sorry.
That's their calling.
Yeah. All right, I'll say it again. Apes, we are aware of the eye-related issues that affected some of the attendees of Ape Fest and have been proactively reaching out to individuals since yesterday to try to find the potential root causes. Based on our estimates, we believe that much less than 1% of those attending and working the event had these symptoms. So this could be the fake news media just out to get the apes.
That's hilarious, like on many fronts.
It is very funny. So yeah, I think Bitcoin is back up, apes down bad.
Apes down bad. I wanted to reach on the one that I was researching. And maybe y'all heard about this before, but did y'all hear about the Volkswagen thing that happened with Volkswagen? The scam?
A little bit.
All right, so I'm gonna try to detail. There's a lot that goes into this, but basically, they call it Dieselgate or Emissionsgate, and it started in like September 2015, where the EPA issued a notice of violation, and so basically what happened was Volkswagen intentionally programmed their system to activate their emissions controls during laboratory emissions testing. So like there's a certain amount of like nitric oxide, however you fucking say that, that is allowed to be emitted through cars. Cars are regulated.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a certain amount of emissions allowed to emit. Well, Volkswagen they created something that had, I guess, when a certain amount of emissions testing, or however they do the emissions testing, when it detected that, when the car detected that, it cut off its regular emissions and put out a certain amount to say that it was in concordance with the regulatory standards of the EPA.
Why did the car always just run on that low emissions mode?
It wasn't as fast. It wasn't as effective.
Ah.
And so they were trying to have a really good product that looked like it was meeting regulatory standards, but it actually wasn't. And they found that it put out, I think, 40% more emissions than the allowed standard. And this is how they found it. So back in 2013, the International Council on Clean Transportation, they commissioned the University of West Virginia. And so it was just like a group of researchers. And so they conducted a bunch of live road tests in California. And they detected additional nitrogen oxide.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it. They found it 2 out of the 3 vehicles that they tested, but they were so like, this can't be it, that they had to like recreate it like a bunch of times. And then they finally were like, nah, this some crazy shit going on. And so they submitted a paper that told them all tell the EPA what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they slowly started to like tell them like, yo, we're kind of on to what you guys are doing. They denied it. They denied it. And after a while, it just got to the point where it was absolutely evident what they were doing. Then people started kind of like snitching. People started kind of telling, going up to like a lot of people in the EPA, saying like, yeah, like we know. And so slowly but surely they started to admit the shit. I think so over, or these numbers I had them written down. Over I think, what are these numbers? Can't find it. I think it was over 11. Yeah, 11 million cars had this emission in it. And so it impacted so many. We're talking, I think they had to pay over like $30 billion over the lifespan of this entire lawsuit. They got rid of like 30,000 workers. They were down bad. There was many people indicted. There was a list of them, but I didn't feel like it was important. The CEOs, all these people, they got indicted, they got jail time because it was fraud. They all admitted it was fraud. There was like over 30 like heads of the company that knew what was going on, willingly knew what was going on. And then there was like subsequent studies. This was what I found super interesting, man. There were subsequent studies that got published. So like this one is a peer-reviewed study in the environmental research letters that estimated that approximately 59 premature deaths will be caused by the excess pollution produced between 2008 and 2015 by vehicles equipped with the what they call the defeat device in the United States. So that's the device that Volkswagen put in there to trick the emissions tests.
Yeah.
So there was like mad health consequences. Like these are all like peer-reviewed studies who it's like incredible publications. There was like up to 10 to 350 excess deaths in the United States due to these things. Let's see, a study by economists found that each cheating Volkswagen car per 1,000 cars caused a low birth weight rate, an increase of 1.9% of infant mortality rate, increased by 1.7%. So there's like real environmental causes that happen because of this shit. Billions and billions of dollars. They had to pay out different they had to do recalls on like all these like different vendors that were buying from them. It was just a shit show, and there's still shit going on to this day. People still getting arrested for it. I mean, arrested and charged for it. And then they found out later on that there were other car companies that were doing the same thing, but like taking an earlier plea deal, they ratted out Volkswagen, and so Volkswagen got the brunt of the sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
And like of getting charged. But there were definitely different. Like there were some parts of Mercedes that did it. There was a Chrysler, a model car, the Chrysler, that did the same thing. And so they found out, they kind of blew the lid on that. It was happening. It was going on a lot. But Volkswagen took the brunt of it. We were talking like I said, I think total was like $34 billion, which it's that's an insane amount of money
Yeah.
to try to rectify a situation like this. So the dude that the CEO, so the SEC actually charged the CEO with defrauding bond investors, and I think he got like over 15 years, 10, 15 years, something like that.
Holy shit.
But yeah, it was a real I had Oliver Schmidt, that's his name, Oliver Schmidt. I had no idea. I had never even heard of this shit before. Never even heard of this shit before.
I had heard about it, and then I forgot about it for a while. And then I think it was the first game of the NFL season a couple years ago. Volkswagen did a commercial, and the commercial was like, hey, we're sorry that we fucked up. And they played like a bunch of clips from old newsreels about how like Volkswagen intentionally lied about their emissions and all this stuff. And I had completely forgotten about it. And I was like, why did Volkswagen do this commercial just to remind everybody that they fucked up? And that's their strategy for like rebranding and moving forward. But
yeah,
that's
they're trying to rebrand, move forward. And it ushered a lot of their new lines are like EVs because they're trying to get away from like diesel, and it's because of this shit.
I expected more from a company that was founded by Hitler. I really did. That's you're really putting he's rolling over in his grave right now.
They really get away with that.
Yeah,
people don't talk about it enough.
Yeah. It was the car of the people.
Yep.
I mean, that's now that I'm thinking about it, that's strike two.
Those are two fairly big strikes.
Some big ass strikes though.
Like 105 mile an hour right down the heart of the plate strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to wasn't BMW also
BMW had there was a few. I had a list of the car, but I have to revamp up the article. There was a few car companies. No, I think Audi was one too. That was lying on their emissions tests. But again, to me, this is just they mad because they got caught. This is what capitalism yields. It is the notion that we have to cut all these corners in order to be profitable, rather than making a solid product, out of wholesome goods, paying your workers, yada yada yada. Capitalism says, cut all that shit off. How do we get the most profit, dog? We don't give a fuck who it hurts. We don't fuck who it. That's the bedrock of this shit.
So Volkswagen was founded in 1937 by the German Labor Front under the Nazi Party, and revived into a global brand after World War II by the British Army officer Ivan Hurst. So yeah, the Nazis straight up invented Volkswagen. So think about that. And then they lied on their emissions tests and cost how many people their lives, killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, allegedly it was like hundreds of people. Birth rates, they because it was like over 11 million cars, so it's like, and like when you talk about like environmental, what they talk about like environmental racism, that's what they talk about. Like minority populations are more densely populated, and so what they'll build, freeways, traffic happens in these densely populated areas, not in the suburbs, and so all that combustion builds up over there, so people have health problems, more asthma, more this, more that, which is demonstrable. Lead poisoning, shit like that, it's demonstrable, and so they played a big part in that, and so that's fucked up.
Yep. Mad Dog, what's your favorite scam?
Ooh, Enron.
Enron is a good scam.
Well, no, actually, I take that back. Enron's branding is my favorite.
Their merch is good,
which I've talked about on the show heavily. If anyone has any vintage Enron gear, please DM me. Elizabeth Holmes, my queen.
Yeah, that's a good scam too.
She
had a good idea.
Great, a world-changing idea.
Yeah, if it worked.
Yeah, but also let's think about who she partnered with and how they can't get anything done either.
Who?
Walgreens.
Oh yeah, good point. Mm-hmm. Great point.
Yeah. So I mean, when you think about Walgreens,
I will. That. I'll think about her.
But yeah, no, Elizabeth Holmes, just the way that she went about everything. I mean, like, crazy. Her voice, nothing about that made sense, and it went on for so long. But, Elizabeth Holmes is, I think, the ultimate scammer.
Big T, what are you looking at right now?
What are you doing?
I'm making sure Walgreens doesn't advertise with Barstool Sports.
Okay. If they do, fuck them.
Talk that shit.
I'll stand on it.
I doubt
Talk that shit.
I'm not. I just went on record. If they are an advertiser, I'm still anti-Walgreens.
It does not appear that they are.
Good.
I don't think they
I
are.
don't
They
want their
are.
money.
And it was still in the other episode anyway.
I don't want their single drop of blood money from Walgreens. Fucking bullshit scam artists.
You would only need one drop for the Edison machine as well.
Exactly. They are. They every night I go to sleep in pain because of Walgreens. I just went on the record for that.
Mm.
Whatever.
Fuck 'em.
We don't really talk that much about WorldCom. Do you guys remember WorldCom?
No.
They were kind of after Enron. They weren't as. It was a bigger scam. It might have been like the most money ever lost by a stock. I think they lost like $100 billion.
That company sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
WorldCom, yeah. Also, long distance calling. That's a scam because companies would be able to pay for the rights to wire calls from state to state, and then they would sell them on like individual plans to different households. Like you pay us because this is our turf, so we'll allow you to communicate on our turf because we were able to pay the money up front to own it.
When did long distance calling end?
Or you can argue that parking lots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, no. Here you go. ATM machines, bro.
Good one.
ATM. I gotta pay to get my money, cuz that's crazy.
Yep. What happens when you steal one? I've seen some great viral videos recently of people that like
I've seen those.
that run their cars into convenience stores and then strap chains to ATMs and like drag them out and load them into the back of a truck and speed away. I can't imagine that it's as simple as just stealing an ATM machine. I can't imagine that you like get it to your apartment and you take a crowbar, break that shit open, and then boom, you have $100,000.
No way.
I don't
Can't
think.
beat it. There's no way they keep 100 racks in there. I would say 20 at the max.
Mm-hmm. But still, I don't think that it's that simple. I think they probably have die packs. They'll like explode and ruin the money.
Yeah.
They probably make the ATM machines like super heavy too, so they're hard to steal.
I'm sure they are really heavy, just generally.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of cash in there. Yeah, ATM machines are definitely a scam.
If you was to invent a scam, what would
mhm.
it be?
I think.
So here it is, and this is gonna sound far fetched, but y'all stay with me.
Okay.
So everyone in America, right? They go to their job, they work, they put in their labor, and then I just get 30% of the money
There he goes.
for they just have to give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't say no, or I put them in prison.
Would you get anything in return for that?
I get the money.
Okay, what do you do? Would you like provide protection?
I'm
or
turning
army, or
I'm turning a huge profit on anything I give back to them.
would you build a road?
Sure, you can have some roads.
It would
you
take
can
7
get to
years
work?
to build it, though.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna put a toll on the road to recoup the cost of the road past what it costs me.
That's another one. Privately run toll roads are a scam.
Wait, that's a thing.
Oh yeah, it's a scam.
Where?
Big time. Virginia.
What?
So I don't know how many states have this, and maybe it's everywhere, maybe it's just in certain places. We had a toll road that would take us from Dulles Airport, which is where you sometimes fly into DC, into Washington DC, which is, I don't know, like a 20-minute drive depending on traffic. It could be way more than that, but it's about, I would say about 20 miles. That started to get really congested because too many people were using it. The area was growing too fast. So a private company came in and said, we're going to build a different road, but it's going to cost like twice as much to use as the normal toll road. And so obviously everybody is like, well, I'm sick of being stuck in traffic for 2 hours trying to get to work. I'm going to pay the extra money and then go on the other toll road. By the way, toll roads are one of those things where you will never see a price drop at a toll road ever. It's always going to be a price hike. You're always going to go up by like 50 cents or we're going up $1 next year. They get you. They get you on those. And the private toll roads are the biggest crocks of shit.
Yeah.
But if you were to build a scam out of nowhere, it's hard, man. I think like the internet is just going to continue to evolve scam wise. There's going to be new shit coming out. My mom gets scammed on Facebook probably once a month. I'll get a message. I'll get a message from her, and she's obviously clicked on a link. oh, she's calling me right now. Hey, Mom. This is wild. This is
Well,
like the
what?
second time.
That's
Manifest.
insane.
That happened to me with my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. When you were in studio.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
That's weird.
I'm going to call her back in a little bit. But
Oh,
yeah, hey, Mom. Hope you didn't get scammed.
Imagine she's calling you for that.
that'd be insane.
Yeah, it's a possibility. What other scams? What other scams we want to talk about? Mackenzie, you got a favorite scam?
No,
That's a wild question in general.
Oh, another
favorite
scam.
I don't think so.
Ticketmaster.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. I feel like I can't prove it, but orthodontists are a scam.
I cannot get on that.
Yeah.
Are those foot doctors?
Nope.
Braces.
Braces.
That's
That was close.
orthopedist.
I mean, you see the confusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I had braces. This is embarrassing. I had braces from the time I was in 2nd grade.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Seems so early.
No, not 2nd grade. When did I get them? I think 5th grade, maybe. 5th grade, I might have gotten braces, and I didn't get them off until I was a senior in high school.
Oh my gosh.
And my teeth weren't even that fucked up. My teeth were like, I had one tooth that was bad, and it brought it down in like the first year. And then after that, I would just go in, oh, we got to put power chains on. Let's tighten those things up. Oh, we got to put this other thing in there. Let's tighten that thing up. My mouth was just basically in pain for my entire childhood. And then I got to college, got them taken off then. That was awesome. That was a big glow up for your boy. But I don't know if they got paid by the month or by the year. But all I remember is one time I asked my orthodontist, like, when am I getting these off? And he was like, yeah, we'll probably get them off next time. Then I go, next time. Are we taking them off? No, maybe we'll get them off next time. And then I told my parents, like, hey, he keeps lying to me about when he's taking them off. And my parents were like, you got to get these off. Why is he still in braces right now? And we had a meeting. It was like my parents, me, and the orthodontist. And he was so intimidated. He was like, okay, yeah, we'll take him off next time. I was like, bitch, you like if that's all it took, you should have taken off years ago.
What was his reasoning though?
I don't think he really had one. Like he would just tighten shit up, and my teeth didn't really change.
Talking about braces work.
Yeah, no, they worked. Like I said, I had one bad tooth that got straightened out in about 8 months to a year, and then I was just in braces the entire time. And because like I don't know, I don't come from family.
You have any ops that was paying off your orthodontist to keep you a dork?
Maybe, maybe I was getting zero hose. Yeah, I was not a threat. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his explanation was, but the motherfucker kept me in braces, ruined my childhood. I feel like orthodontists are a scam. I can't prove it.
Can't prove it.
No.
I think they do good work, man. Yeah, you had a one-off bad one, but I think they help fix people's smiles, man.
They probably do. All right. Well, let's get to our interview with Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. And he is in studio with Billy. The rest of us are remote. So we're going to talk to him about Quaaludes, about his wild times, what he's up to now. And yeah, good interview. All right, we now welcome on a very special guest indeed. It's Jordan Belfort. You know him from The Wolf of Wall Street. He's written a book. It's called The Wolf of Investing, where you reveal and explain the most daunting and frightening aspects of personal investing, and you give the average reader an advantage over what would otherwise be an unattainable chance to make it big in the stock market. So thank you very much for joining us. We've been trying to get you on the show for a while. I know you're a personal hero of Billy's, so I'm going to kick it over to Billy because Billy's in studio with you right now.
Right. What's up, Billy?
How are you?
Billy, I hope you're not too nervous, but this is kind of your idol, so don't fuck it up.
No, big fan of the movie. First question, how would you describe yourself?
Myself? Older and wiser than I was when you saw the movie.
That's got to be weird because that movie sort of takes a short period of your life kind of, and sort of that has become what everyone thinks about you. How would you describe, what exactly in that movie really pertains to you and how you sort of grown from that?
Well, I mean, listen, the drive, the entrepreneurial drive, the risk-taking mentality, love of beautiful women, loving having fun, camaraderie with my friends, making tons of money. All those things are still me. But, the way you go about fulfilling those values, hitting those values, are a bit different when you're 20 or 30 years older than you were when you're like in your 20s, right? So I mean, in my 20s, I was just full on, pedal to the metal, just going at life, and you're not really considering the consequences as much. Versus when you get a bit older, you say, well, maybe I need to, like, I still love all that stuff. I don't do drugs anymore. It's been a long time, right? Because I consumed all of them, right? So, and I'm married to a great woman. I'm not, doing the whole hooker thing anymore, right? But also, remember, that was like a different day and age, the 90s. It was before we all had these dreaded smartphones where everything you did was like captured on video, or you can't get away with anything anymore, right? And also, values in terms of like the whole Me Too movement and all this sort of stuff, and it's insane, right? So you got to be more careful these days. But that doesn't mean I still don't have a ton of fun. Still don't go out there and make a lot of money, because I think that's important in life. And the reason I wrote this book, by the way, is that there's two aspects to being wealthy. One is you got to make some money, but also is what do you do with the money that you have? How do you put it to work and allow that to make you rich? Because even if you don't make a ton of money, you can use the market if you know what you're doing. And I go through this in my book in intimate detail, to build yourself a multi-million-dollar nest egg when you're ready to retire. So that's what the book discusses. Is it's not about short-term trading and trying to time the market. That's speculation, and that can be fun. But if you want to really set yourself up for massive wealth down the road, you got to think differently.
How do you have fun nowadays? How do you use your money to have fun? Like, after being through all the experiences, I know some of it's dramatized in the movie, but coming down from having those experiences to trying to have fun nowadays, how do you do it?
So, I mean, listen, sometimes, just fun for me is being with my family, my kids, my wife. I have good friends. I have some wild friends still who still playing, still living on the edge, right? So I'm one of these people. I don't do drugs anymore, but I have no problem hanging out with people who are partying and going. It doesn't bother me at all, right? Yeah. And so, I have all different types of friends, right? I travel all the time. I get to see the greatest places and hang out with awesome people all over the world. But also, I have a lot of fun just staying home these days. Like, I don't have to go out. I could be home just, with my family and my wife watching TV, and I'm having a lot of fun. I have a great house in Miami. I'm on the water. But when I do go out, though, I still have a lot of fun. I just don't have to go wild. I was wild. Like, when I was in my 20s, and early 30s, I was literally like, there was just like pushing the limit every single day. It was like I was like one of those action junkies, like looking for a higher and higher cliff to jump from and a shallower and shallower pool to land in, right? So I don't have that urge anymore as much, but I still love to go out and party and have fun.
So there's hope for the young guys who are going hard right now that one day you might sort of level out.
Yeah, I think, listen, I think I'm never level. I'm just not a level guy, So I'm an extremist. But again, the big difference, I'll tell you the big difference for everyone who's listening, because it's probably a young listenership, right? Which, by the way, is the best time to start investing. Seriously. Yeah. No, if you're young, if you're in your 20s or 30s right now, there's simple ways that you can set yourself up for massive wealth when you retire, right? But getting back to the difference between 20s and 30s and 50s, right, and older, is the recovery time. Like, when I was like 20s and 30s, I could party like a rock star and then wake up the next morning and just go right back to work. No problem, right? In fact, one of our favorite sayings at the firm, Stratton, was like, if you're going to go out with the boys, you got to wake up with the men. That was this, and we did. We went out with the boys, we woke up with the men, right? That gets a bit more difficult when you hit like 50 years old, right? And even older. It's like, wow. It's like, you go out and party and next morning you're just devastated. It's like a 2-day recovery period. So I think, there's nothing wrong. We should enjoy your youth, and there's nothing wrong with living a wild, extreme, full, great life. But at a certain point, the things that make sense when you're 25 don't make quite as much sense when you're 55.
What was the most reckless thing that you did? Like, looking back on it, when you're like, okay, I kept searching for a higher and higher cliff and a shallower pool. Is there one thing that you look back on, you're like, wow, I'm very lucky?
Yeah. other than my unprotected sexual escapades in my 20s and 30s, which somehow I never caught anything, by the way, and I never, it's really crazy. I never wore a condom or anything, and never caught anything. I was like bulletproof for some reason, right? I guess I have a good immune system, right? But other than that, I'll tell you that probably the most dangerous thing I ever did was scuba diving. I love scuba diving. I was scuba diving. I was about 80 feet down, and I knew it was going to be a deep dive, and I was high as a kite on Quaaludes. So I went scuba diving on Quaaludes, right? And I was so fucked up on these ludes. I was like at 70 feet with a good friend of mine, Mark Glazier, owns a pharmaceutical company, NutraBio, right? Great, still a college friend of mine, right? And he's a great diver, and I was a really good diver, right? And I don't know, I got confused at like the bottom, and like it was giant fish, and I'm so fucking high, right? And suddenly I thought my mask was leaking, and I'm like, I can't get the fucking water out of my mask. I'm like, and I just got confused because I was like in the third phase of Quaalude, which is like the drool phase, and like it's really dangerous to be 80 feet down and like confused because like you can't just come back up, you get the bends, you have to be very careful of. So Mark and we changed gear at 80 feet at the bottom when I was high as a kite, and somehow I lived through that. And then I think that about 10 minutes later, I think I speared my captain. We had spear guns. We were going spear fishing too, and I speared him, hit him in the leg, a broadside, right? So, and yet I walked away from that, and without any ill effects. So, yeah, I had a couple of overdoses along the way, but that probably was the single most reckless thing I ever did, even more so than flying my helicopter on Quaaludes, which I did on a daily basis just for shits and giggles. But the reason I did that is because I had the pilot sit next to me just in case I passed out.
The movie's gotten a lot of people fascinated with Quaaludes, and you talk about the third stage. What are all the stages of Quaaludes?
So stage one is called the tingle phase. So that's like right when after you take a Quaalude. It's like the first 15 minutes, your fingertips are tingling and you're so euphoric. It's like even before it starts to tingle, they're about to tingle. It's just incredibly, like, it's so awesome. It really is. Like, thank God they're illegal, because I'd go take one right now if I could go to the drugstore and get one, right? Okay, stage two. And that lasts for like 30, 45 minutes. Then stage two is called the slur phase. This is where you start like slurring your words. And also you get the I love yous. I love you, buddy. And you don't think you're slurring, right? And you like love everybody. And you also get what's called phonitis. So this is like when you start just calling people up that I love you, right? And so my ex-wife used to like unplug this was when we had regular house phones, right? And she'd unplug the phones out because I'd be like slurring people, calling strangers. I love you, right? So she'd unplug the phone. I'd be like, why isn't the phone working, right? That's stage two. Stage three is the drool phase. That's when the lewds start getting the better of you. You start like getting a little sleepy and you're stumbling around, you're drooling, but you still got, drooling's not a big deal. Babies drool, I drool, babies get away with it, so can I, and you drool, right? And stage four is unconsciousness, where you pass out cold because they're a sleeping pill, right? So, anyway, where you pass out, could be in a bowl of soup sometimes, rose bush, hopefully your own bed, but often you got carried to your own bed, especially when you were rich and you had a bodyguard who would carry you, put you in the bed, you wake up. The beauty, though, of the whole thing, though, is number one is they would turn your body into rubber. So even when you fell down, you just bounced, right? And two, it was like a happy ending. Unlike cocaine, which is like a devil's drug, which I did a lot of that too. I don't know why, but I did. Okay, dance with the devil there. But Quaaludes are a happy ending. You just go to sleep and you wake up feeling refreshed without a hangover. So those are the basic phases of a Quaalude high.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to try Quaaludes at one point in my life, but I guess they're completely illegal right now. Like they don't even make them anymore, right?
They don't make them, and the problem is that they're difficult to make. You can't make them. I know people have tried to make them in a lab. It doesn't really work. It's the precursors are difficult to find. So yeah, it's really a good thing because they're so great that wow, it's just like. Yeah. Just like once you start taking them, it was like Pez, it's like I just want to keep taking and popping them all day long.
It's probably for the best they don't make them anymore.
Yeah,
now everybody just sees them and they're like, man, I wish I lived in the 80s and 90s. That would have been great.
Yeah.
So you're obviously a great salesperson. That's kind of how that's who you are at heart, right. I think, as a salesperson. Going back to your younger life, I read that you did door-to-door sales?
Yeah, so the first real sales job I had done things as a kid, newspaper route and stuff like that, right? But the first real sales job I had was going door to door selling meat and seafood. And right from the beginning, I just broke all the records. Was natural born closer. So yeah, that wasn't. I mean, I must have knocked on 10,000 doors throughout my life, and more, probably 100,000 doors.
Yeah. What's your sales pitch? So sell me a fish.
Sell you a fish. Well,
Sell me this
that's
fish.
Before I sell you a fish, I first find out if you're in the market for a fish. Like, what type of fish do you like? Where do you buy your fish? Do you how many people are in your family, right? Do you like the fish fried or cooked? So the first thing I would do is ask you questions. And then once I basically found out what type of fish that you liked and how much fish you typically buy at one time, who it's for, right? Do you like frozen? Do you make everything, you want everything fresh, right? Then I would sit there and sell you whatever I, thought was going to match what you wanted, and I'd close you like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you have this ability to find out what somebody's desire is, like find maybe it's their pain point that you're searching for, maybe it's something like you find out what really like perks their hairs up, and whether that's thinking about the future, you sell them a dream, you sell them the idea of like, okay, well, Christmas is coming up, you're gonna need to have the 7 fishes. I got you covered on all these. You find out, you tap into somebody's emotions really well, from what I know about.
I mean, the first thing is you like. If you're a fish salesman, right? It's going back to the Grant Cardone interview, right? If you ever saw that with the fish, right? So if you're a fish salesman, if you are gonna speak to 50 people, not all 50 people are gonna want fish, right? You probably might find maybe 15 of them want fish, can afford fish, and it makes sense for you to sell them fish. So first step is to find out who actually wants what you're selling, right? Not trying to waste your time trying to shove fish down someone's throat who doesn't like fish, right? Because that's not going to typically be a good result. So that's step one. Once you find the right people, and the way you find them is through asking questions, right? First, you're going to knock on doors or pick up the phone, or they come in your store and whatever, right? Then once you identify who those potential customers are, you start asking them questions to identify, again, what their needs are, how much they might want to buy, what they can afford. When you talk about things like pain points, like, what, and again, with fish, it's, what would be the pain point of fish? Well, maybe buying fish in the past and it kind of smelling like fish, not being very good fish, or, the family not liking it. And even though it's healthy to eat, it kind of sucks, right? It's not as tasty as a great sirloin or something like that. So finding out what people's past experiences are with fish and what their concerns are. Like, I'm going to have this Christmas dinner with 12 different or 13 different types of fish, right? And I mean, the last year, it sucked because one of the two ingredients was not up to par and smelled like fish, right?
Yeah.
But like, I want to find out what bad experiences they've had, what things they're worried about, right? And then when I'm then saying, okay, well, based on what you said, let me tell you, here's what you should be buying. I'm going to actually tailor my presentation so it addresses all your needs. It resolves your pain points and play right into that. And then once I, paint this picture of, how awesome it's going to be, how great, how happy your family's going to be. Just imagine you're all sitting there and your fish stew is just amazing, and the family has this great memory. You can believe me, you're going to be very glad you bought these 12 fishes.
Yeah, so
12 fish. I speak English, don't I?
Yeah. So then you transition eventually to selling pink sheet stocks, which are completely unregulated. And at the time, it seemed like it was kind of the Wild West. While you were selling those stocks and you made a lot of money off them, did you ever, as you were going through the process of selling them, when you were talking to somebody, did you feel guilty knowing that you were giving them a bunch of dog shit? Or were you just like, you know what, this is the game. This is how I'm going to be able to make a lot of money. I'm going to say and do whatever it takes to get these people to buy these stocks.
So I think that's a good question, and the answer is that my inner thoughts evolved over time. So in the beginning, right? I mean, I didn't know they were shit. I was 23 years old, and when you walk into a company, so you understand, like, one scene in the movie that's very misleading is I walk into the company, and I look at these stocks. I'm like, these are real pieces of shit. Like, and the manager's like, oh yeah, we just sell dog shit to mechanics. That's not true. Like, no one would ever say that. Like, if you're trying to attract a salesperson and get them to sell a stock, you're gonna tell them, oh my God, these are the greatest stocks ever. You're kidding me? This is the next Apple computer. So when you walk into and this is an important lesson for anybody out there that's going into the workplace, is that if there's a scammer, if you were working at FTX, they weren't telling you that they were robbing customers' money. They're saying we're the greatest exchange in the world. Same thing goes for those at Terra Luna or people that worked for the what was her name, Elizabeth Holmes, the blood clinic, right? Right. So wasn't like that. I didn't know that the stocks were bad. Now then, ultimately, as I got more sophisticated, yes, I realized that the stocks were very speculative, right? But we told the people that they were speculating wildly. Like, this was not like, so we never said to people, hey, this is a really safe investment. Like, we actually sent them letters. Like, it's Stratton. When you opened up an account at Stratton, and you would typically you'd start off by buying a New York Stock Exchange stock or a large NASDAQ, right? And why? Because it's name recognition, easy to open up an account, right? Very common in the world of business to start off with something that's easy to sell. Then we would transition to more speculative stocks. We'd send them a letter saying, the first stock you bought was a more safe investment. Going forward, we will present you with much more speculative investments. You probably lose every single dollar that you send in, okay? We dominate the market, control the price. It means it might trade above its value or below its value at any given moment in time. You probably lose every penny that you send in. So you probably should not invest in this stuff. And no one cared. No one, they want that. People want that. People want to speculate, right? So it wasn't like that we were, sitting there saying, hey, this is a safe, put all your money into this. It's a safe investment. They were speculating, right? Does that mean I didn't feel guilty that people lost money? Yeah, of course. I mean, you don't want people to lose money, but it wasn't like the intent. You never try. And no stock, I don't care, unless you're out of your mind or a sociopath, you would never try to lose a client money. Why? Because even if you're the most greedy person on earth, you're going to do far better if they make money. So you're always trying to make some money. It's just not very easy in the stock market. And that's, in fact, when I wrote this book, it's precisely because of that, which I saw happening now to people in my own family. My brother-in-law was speculating with crypto and short-term trading, and he got buried, by trying to time the market, go on margin, all these different things. And when I showed him how you really invest the right way, his portfolio obviously is now doing great. And so I decided to write this book, The Wolf of Investing, because I think it's very easy for someone to either call you on the phone or you see some shit online, some charlatan barking about these 5 crypto stocks are going to be the next moon balls. Man, that's all bullshit. The real way to invest, okay, is very different. And it's actually very simple to make a ton of money in the stock market by having patience and investing over the long term in great companies. And then using compounding, long-term compounding, to turn a small amount of money into millions. That's how you do it. That's the right way to do it.
Right. So give Billy some advice. Billy is a 24-year-old. Are you 24, Billy?
Yep.
24-year-old, just entered the workforce. He is making, I guess, decent salary, but he's starting out. So what would you recommend Billy do? What are like 2 concrete things that he can do to become rich beyond his wildest dreams by the time he's 50?
Okay, so at this point, I would tell you to invest almost literally 100% of your money into the S&P 500, close to it, right? And you could maybe make 90% in the S&P 500, maybe 10% in a high-quality bond fund. But again, at your age with your income, so assuming you don't have any short-term expenditure that you need to make, right? So if you have anything that's coming up over the next year or so, well, you're going to want to set a little bit aside for that. Because when you invest in the stock market, the right way, right? And which means not trying to trade in and out, not try to buy individual stocks, but to buy an index, the S&P 500. And there are certain types of accounts you want to buy that in at your age. You want to start with some tax-free accounts, if you can, your IRA, 401k, or either your Roth IRA, even depending on what your situation is. I don't know how things work here at Barstool, right? But you want to have the bulk of your money in an S&P 500 index fund and reinvest your dividends. Okay, and reinvest my dividends, right? In addition to that, it's equally as important. Whatever you could put in right now, okay, that's one thing. But then you want to start adding to that position every month, even if it's a little bit, $50, $100, or hopefully even more than that, right? And add to that every single month for the next 30 years. A little bit, hopefully more and more as your income grows, right? If you do that, you will end up with millions of dollars probably in your account, okay, by the time you're in your 50s. And then by the time you turn 60, you'd be shocked. You mean literally, and again, I don't know how much capital would you start with? How much do you have to start with, more or less?
Well, I do have a Roth IRA.
Okay.
So
how much?
7, the maximum of the year, I had like 7 in it.
And next year you'll have another set, right?
Yeah.
Great. So again, so that's more than enough to start with. And especially each year, if you keep putting another max out there, you'll have millions and millions of dollars in your retirement account when you're ready to just kick back and be on easy street. And the key is to not worry. And this is the trap. You can't worry about what the market is doing, whether it's going up, down, or sideways on any given year. The market goes up, the market goes down, but over the long term, the very long term, the market goes up. That's historically the market has gone up consistently over the last 150 years, right? And I don't care what's wrong with the economy and the debt, blah, blah, blah. What I'm talking about, the S&P 500, the best 500 companies, which get changed out every 3 months. So it's not always the same 500 companies. So by having this type of investment, and a few other things you need to do, it's all in the book, by the way. The Wolf Investing is like, man, it's laugh out loud funny too, bro. You'll crack up reading this book, right? But by doing that and ignoring the noise, the bullshit, the temptation to try to time the market, trade in and out, you're almost virtually assured to end up with a massive nest egg when you're ready to retire. And it couldn't be a better time. If you're in your 20s or 30s, it could not be a better time than right now. And the trap that people fall into is that you say, well, I only have $7,000. How is that going to ever amount to anything? Like, I need to find a very aggressive investment. Like, I need to find the next great penny stock or the next great token or NFT, God forbid, right? And because I need to make 10 times my money to get anywhere. And then once I have maybe $100,000 or $70,000, then maybe I could be a bit more conservative then. That is the opposite. That's not the truth. The truth is you could start off with a very small amount. So anyone listening to this, listen, you don't need to start with large amounts of money. You start with small amounts of money and make little contributions along the way. And you do this consistently and let the market work its long-term magic, okay? And let the compounding take effect. If you do that, when you guys are in your 50s and 60s, you'll be fucking rich, all right? Fucking rich, okay? Assuming the market continues to hit its long-term averages over the last 150 years, which is a pretty good bet, all right? You're going to end up really, really in great shape. But if you do the opposite and try to time the market or have someone manage your money and pay lots of fees and commissions, you're probably not going to end up doing very well at all.
Sounds good. Big T. Big T's at home with COVID right now. He's powering through it.
COVID,
dog.
really?
He's an absolute it's still going on apparently. Big T's got it, but that's not going to stop Big T. He's
obviously wasn't going to miss a chance to talk to you. It'd be hard to, I guess, conceptualize at this point because it's been your whole life. But do you think there was another career if you didn't go into Wall Street that your skills would have been that you would have liked to do that you would have been this successful at?
You know, I think just as an entrepreneur, right? So, yeah, I mean, I was in Wall Street, right? But, you know, I've made more money just from being an entrepreneur over the last 25 years, you know, since this whole thing happened. And even when I was on Wall Street, I also owned Steve Madden's Shoes, which is a regular company, you know. So I was running a shoe company and financed a shoe company. And so I believe that owning a business is the best way to develop a huge income and hopefully sell it one day and have a giant exit, right? The question that I address in this book is what do you do with the money that you make from that business? So there's two sides to it. Is number one, making a lot of money, right? How do you make a lot of money? Well, you could do that as a salesperson, commission-based salesperson, as a business owner, or you get a high salary by being very valuable to a company. But generally speaking, the most effective ways to get rich is be an entrepreneur, right? And have a business. That's how you can make the most money or be a very high paid commission salesman. Then the next step is, well, what do I do with the extra money that I make? I'm able to save. How do I put that to work to make more money, right? And this is where people screw up all the time. Is they'll keep money in their bank account or checking or a savings or some mutual fund that just sucks moose cock that returns 4% a year, right? And the thing is that it's so simple. Like when I wrote this book, right? You know, I always knew what to do, but when I actually did the research, like I actually did a ton of research, right? It was like every academic study going back 100 years shows you exactly what to do, exactly how to get rich in the stock market the right way. And that was the strategy that I laid out in this book. So again, as I'd be an entrepreneur for sure, right? And then from there, or it could be Nancy Pelosi, a politician, and get rich like that by taking little bits here and there, and then you're a great stock picker because you know exactly what's going to happen next, right? But barring that, an entrepreneur of some sort, and then maybe in real estate as well would be another way. I would certainly can make a lot of money, and then take that money and just invest it and build a portfolio that over time compounds, and that's how you get super rich.
I have one last question for you, and then I think Billy probably has another one for you too. Do you think that you could be happy being poor?
No,
not
Listen,
at all. You think money
no.
always translates to happiness?
No, I didn't say that. But here's what I will tell you. I've been a rich man, I've been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time and never look back. Right? I said that in the movie. I used to say that all the time when I was giving meetings at Stratton. Leo said that in the movie. It was one of my lines. Right? To take that one step further, I'll break it down a bit further, right? I've been a rich man and been absolutely happy as hell, like so fucking happy and just living the dream, right? I've also been a rich man and been miserable. Like I say, I was rich and miserable, like just couldn't get it together emotionally and wasn't happy with where I was, the woman I was with, or how my life was going. For whatever reason, I wasn't happy, but I was rich. I've been poor and fucking miserable. Right? I have been poor and miserable where I just was so frustrated and miserable and everything seemed to suck and I had no money, right? So that's true too. But never once in my entire fucking life have I been poor and happy. Never. If I'm poor, I'm miserable. I'm striving to work my ass off to get money again because there's a certain amount of money that we need in our life to live an empowered life. And I love nice things and I love money and I love not having to worry about shit, right? I love taking care of the people I love and giving to the causes I believe in and, living the dream. And you need money for that. And I believe money is a problem to be solved. So again, it doesn't ensure happiness, but it sets you up to be happy if you have other things then you address as well.
Gotcha. All right, Billy?
So my question has to do with the whole scandal regarding Riza Aziz. Did you have any idea going into the movie making process, and has it surprised you since then that something like this, like fraud, could have helped fund a movie that had a little fraud involved?
Yeah, so it's good. I'm actually in arbitration with them right now. It's next week, in fact. So here's the thing. I suspected something was odd with these guys, but not that they were stealing money. I thought they were just like it was daddy's money or oil money, and they didn't just give a shit because they were spending money like I'd never seen before. Like I was a big spender. These guys were just like crazy spending money. Jolo and Razor, they'd blow money like it was just nothing, right? So when I remember when we I sold them the rights to The Wolf to make the movie, and then like 2 weeks later, like, oh, we need you to fly out to Cannes for the launch party. I'm like, what launch party? Like the movie's not even made yet. Like, oh no, we want to announce it. So they flew us out there, beautiful, hotel to cop, yachts, private jets, the whole thing, right? And I walked into this launch party, and they must have spent like $9 million on the launch party. And I looked at my then wife. I'm like, this is not going to end well. I mean, this is one day all this will be gone. Now, I didn't think they stole the money. I just thought they're like, oh, they're just like wild, young Playboy types. And, they got the daddy's money and the oil money. And they're just going to, spend it and make some movies. They don't give a shit whether they make or lose profits. I didn't think that. How would you know that they took the money from a sovereign wealth fund? You would never. There's no way to know that. I first started to get those inklings many years later when it came out in the newspaper and there was an investigation and they assured me, no, it's all bullshit. We're being persecuted, blah, blah, blah. And then ultimately the whole thing unwound, right? So that's sort of the timeline in that. And again, I just, they were spending money so fast, but the story that was being told was that it's oil money, it's all the Middle East and they don't care,
My last question, we talked about this earlier, but what did the movie get wrong? What else did it get wrong,
Well, clearly, like this whole idea that which you brought up about that, like trying to lose people money in the stock market, like, oh, let's sell them dog shit stocks. We never did that. No one. I guess if you're like one of these really corrupt, like mafia-backed firms or something, where you don't just, it's like, let's say stay in business for 6 months till they come and raid us. Like we were in business for 10 years. You couldn't sell phony stocks. You'd be out of business in 6 months. They'd come in and raid your firm, right? So that idea that we were trying to sell shitty stocks and lose people money is just completely false. You would never do that because as greedy as we were, you want to make people money because you make more money when they make money. Like the most money I ever made in my firm was with Steve Madden Shoes, the best deal we did, right? So of course you want to do only Steve Madden shoe type of deals. Problem is that the nature of the market we were in, venture capital, we were doing public venture capital, even in the best venture capital situations with Uber and whatnot, if you do 10 deals, 7 are going to go in the toilet and go bankrupt, 2 will be okay, and 1 will be a freaking home run. So that's the nature of the beast. So that was wrong, and I understand why they did it. That Marty Scorsese's smart. It was an easy way to say that there's something wrong. The companies suck. It's very visceral and visual. So it allowed him to explain to the audience that there's a crime going on here, right? In fact, there's a great scene in the movie where Leo looks in the camera. He goes, he's explaining what we really did. He's like, 2 o'clock, the company went public, and 1 million shares were bought back in my personal account at $4. And he goes, you know what? You don't give a shit about all that. He looks at the camera and goes, you don't care about all the details. The point was all this legal? Absolutely not. Like, we manipulated the stocks. That's what we did. We manipulated stocks, no doubt. And there was crimes committed, but we weren't trying to find bad companies. No, unless you're whacked, you would never try to do that. That's one thing that was certainly wrong. Another thing that was just, I guess it was in the beginning of the movie was like my de-evolution into a wild man, right? From the sort of good guy, like, can't we make our clients money? In day 1. And then I love my wife. I never cheat on her. And then the next scene, I'm in a strip club snorting coke. That didn't happen that fast. It took about 2 or 3 years to go into slowly but surely to go into that sort of mindset. Those are the 2 things, But at the end of the day, listen, I'm very fortunate. The movie was a huge hit, and it gave me a platform to go out and speak and mentor people around the world. And I've, been doing that with sales and entrepreneurship for many years. And I always stayed away from Wall Street. But with this book, this new book, The Wolf of Investing, this is my way of essentially setting the record straight. 'Cause it's so simple to make money in the stock. Really, it's so simple to have an amazing nest egg waiting for you down the road.
And
but you
this
gotta,
actually,
you gotta.
So,
what's that?
It's relatively conservative investing advice too. You think Jordan Belfort and you think like get rich quick. This is a long-term play, and it's something that I've heard from a lot of people before too. And like you said, if you look at the history, you've got 150 years of a track record to build off of. It's a relatively safe bet if you have patience.
Well, there's nothing wrong with speculating, right? So taking 5% of your capital and having fun and trading for the short term and being aggressive, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But you can't count on making money that way. If you want to count on having a massive amount of money when you retire, follow the advice in the book. And it's just a turnkey, excuse me, it's a blueprint, literally, for any person. I don't care if you're rich, poor, in the middle. It's a blueprint for having a giant nest egg waiting for you when you're ready to retire. And I would urge everyone to follow this advice, especially while you're young. The biggest mistake you make when you're young is you're like, I'm fucking young. I'll worry about that next year or next 5 years from now. No, now is the time to start. For everyone who's listening, start now. Open up the accounts I lay out in the book. Open them up now. Put your money in right now. Just forget about it. You will be shocked at what happens in 15, 20 years. You will be shocked at how it starts to compound. You won't believe it. And you'll literally be sitting on Easy Street when you're ready in your 50s or 60s. You'll be ready to retire. And it comes sooner than you think, guys. Everyone, I promise you, it comes sooner than you think.
All right, sounds good. Well, thank you, Jordan, for joining us. You can check out his book, The Wolf of Investing. It's out now. Now. So you
Number
can pick
1
it
on
up.
Amazon for investing in stocks and everything. And hopefully next week will be in the bestseller list. It doesn't come out till next week. So there you go.
All right, we love it. Thank you for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, that was Jordan Belfort. You guys want to do voicemail?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I don't know if we can top the voicemail of.
We have an update.
Oh, great.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
we
Let's
saved
do it.
this because
We saved this for you guys
Arian
because he
wasn't
called
here.
back in last week and you guys weren't here.
And Billy's not here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Right. But wait. Let me find that one first because that one we need to tackle. Now more people are starting to call in with similar
I like this.
Good.
I like those better than the questions. And
Yeah. with similar things. I mean, it's not overwhelming. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen so often to people listen to this show, but yeah, wait, let me make sure I get the right one.
Hypothetical that's not really a hypothetical. When I was 19, I went to a farm.
No, I think it's this guy.
Guys and girls. This is Patrick from Iowa.
Yep. Okay. Here's our man Patrick from Iowa's update.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys and girls, this is Patrick from Iowa. I'm the guy that was talking about possibly getting intimate with my friend's mom. I did not, and I plan on not doing that. Arian was right. I already knew the answer. I just wanted someone else to say it. Billy had some interesting things to say, that's for sure. But I do not plan on moving forward with that. I think it's probably the smartest idea. So, yeah, thought I'd give you guys a little update. Have a great one, guys.
Well, that's no
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
I couldn't
think
hear anything. I didn't hear anything.
He's not fucking
He's not
the
gonna
mom.
do it.
so.
Shout out to you, man. It's
It's the correct decision, but
Yeah.
it's
it is the correct.
it's not
decision.
fun.
He said that that's what he was leaning towards, but he wanted to hear somebody else say it.
Mhm.
So, Arian, you did a good job. I think it was partially him hearing you say that, and also hearing Billy strongly advocate for the other one, where he's like, if Billy really believes that I should do this, then I know it's the wrong
Do
decision.
the
Right.
opposite.
So,
Somehow that vindicates Billy.
yeah, good job, Billy, talking
Yeah.
him into doing the right thing.
He did it on purpose. That's
Yeah.
he meant to do
Oh,
that.
Billy will 100% take credit for
Yeah.
convincing him to
Oh,
do the
yeah.
right thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess good for him. It would have been a great story, but that's about that's
All it
the
is.
best that he could have gotten out of it. Was like a
Yeah.
cool story to have. And in reality, probably would have fucked up a lot of stuff in various people's lives. So he made the right choice.
Absolutely.
Good on Patrick.
Good on Patrick. We appreciate
Good
you,
job, Pat.
Patrick.
Okay.
Shout out Pat from Iowa.
I have a couple other ones. You want to do
Okay.
other ones?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, Macrodosing? My name is Tamir. I'm from Chicago. So, yeah, welcome to the Windy City. We love having y'all here. And my voicemail ain't so much a question, it's more so a request. But I would love to hear y'all do impressions of each other. So, like, within the group, I would love to hear, like, for example, like, Arian impersonate Billy, Billy impersonate PFT, PFT impersonate Mad Dog do an impression of Big T. I just think that would be hilarious because y'all each got your own, like, idiosyncrasies and mannerisms that are so unique, and they're all hilarious in their own right. And I just know that would be so chaotic, and I'm all here for it. But thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You're doing the Lord's work. So yeah, keep trucking and stay beautiful, handsome, all that. Peace out.
So
Okay, let's do it in that order.
What did he say? It's hard for me to hear.
So he wants to hear us do impersonations of each other.
Well, I have what I want to do. I want to do Arian being mad at Billy.
Okay, all right, yeah, we can do
that's a
that.
good one.
Except now I can't do part of it because oftentimes when Arian gets mad at Billy, he says a word that I'm not allowed to say.
Right.
But I think I can do this part. All right. It's just real quick. Billy, shut the fuck up, dog.
That's pretty good.
That's it.
I liked it. That was very accurate. If you were allowed to say the word, where in that sentence would you have put it?
Well, he just often, when he's getting mad at Billy, that's just what he refers to him as.
I think he would have put it, he would have said Billy, and then he would have started to say shut, and then he would have gone back and said the word, and then said shut the fuck up, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why. So like I toned down I get in like interview form when I talk to y'all, but like when I'm just kicking it, like that word gets thrown around a lot more.
You can say it. We're all
It's-
friends.
Yeah, no, I mean shit. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not shy to say it's my favorite word, but it just gets thrown around a lot more. So it's like when I be getting mad, I kind of drop the veil of the the I'm trying to sound, presentable, or, trying to relate. Then it's just like, get the fuck out of here, my nigga. Like it just really just full fledged what's happening.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a good impression, though.
that was
Thanks.
pretty good.
All right, so Arian, he wants to know if you could do an impression of Billy.
Mhm.
Oh man, it have to be specific. I've never been good at impressions. It's not a thing I'm good at.
Can you do an impression of Billy trying to coach the Uganda football team?
No, that'd be hard. I'm just not good at impressions, dog. Oh man,
Or like an idiosyncrasy of his that he tends to throw around. I have one that he always
get like nasally. He gets really nasally, and then he goes like, he's like, no, that's not true. No, he'll like super get in defense, but I can't. I don't really have. I'm not good at that type shit, bro. I don't know. I'd have to be a specific instance that I'd have to watch, but
I would like to do an impression also of Mad Dog getting upset at Billy.
Oh.
Billy, I have no idea why you love Andrew Tate so much. This guy is such a piece of shit. He doesn't care about you, Billy, and he is emotionally abusive to women, and not at all like Taylor Swift. That's completely different. That's completely different, Billy.
That's a good one. I do get mad at him for that.
Slay.
Oh, this is you'll have to go to the YouTube for this because it's a silent impression, but this is my impression of PFT when Billy deleted the footage. I have a picture of you and it's my favorite picture, and you're like this.
Yeah, I got the same picture. Yeah, I got the same.
I was heated. It was a look that it expressed what it's like to work with Billy. I think it encapsulated everything perfectly because I was simultaneously furious at him for deleting the footage, and also I could not believe what he was saying to me at the time, blaming it on me for him deleting the footage.
It was so much though. It encapsulated so much emotion. I got the same picture saved on my phone because it was all of those things, right? You were pissed off. You couldn't believe that he did it, and you couldn't believe that he was blaming it on you. But also, you like, bro, I like you. Why are you like this? Like, there was a whole, it was like all those different emotions combined to one look, and it was like, oh my god, it was all-time look.
And it was like, Billy, please stop saying what you're saying right now because you're making it so much worse, and I'm trying to help you as best I can. Get out of your own way.
Get out of your own way.
Please stop that. All right, good voicemail. Do we have another one?
We do have one more.
I'm not weird.
Hey,
you guys are
this
weird.
Is Josh from Athens, Ohio. I was just calling in with a question for mainly PFT and Billy and Big T to an extent. I always wondered with personalities that you play kind of on a podcast or any sort of social media, do you ever find that personality hard to turn off, or you kind of disassociate from yourself a little bit while having a conversation with, significant other, family, anything like that, and you kind of blurt out a comment, and in your head you're just kind of like, well, that was more of a PFT comment than an Eric comment. But that's it. Stay handsome, stay beautiful. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's a good question. I think it's probably more relevant to when I was strictly a blogger or just starting out doing the podcast, where when I was online on Twitter, writing for Barstool or for KSK or SB Nation, I would spend all day thinking of the dumbest, worst possible takes, and I would have to do a palate cleanse at the end of every day, where I would have to go read something that was almost too smart to understand and try to use my brain in a much different way in order to reacclimate myself to the regular world. Because you do spend, if you put yourself in that mindset for a prolonged period of time, you fuck yourself up a little bit, and then you just keep thinking that way. So I would have to sit down and read a book for 30 minutes after every day if I spent 8 hours online trying to figure out a link between J.J. Watt and Hitler, This
is what Billy's going through without the buffer. I feel like this describes what's going on with Billy right now.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. I could probably coach him a little bit through that, but
he's slowly descending into internet, like a corner of the internet. He's slowly getting there.
Yeah, I need to figure out what a good palate cleanser for Billy would be. like sit down and watch I don't know, Bill Nye the Science Guy or something. Who's also is he full
No,
of
he's
shit?
fake news. He's fake news. He's not a scientist, and he's an ideologue plant. He's fake news.
You know what I think
Strong disagree. Strong disagree.
Ooh.
It's like a civil engineer.
That's science. He's a science advocate and a science what are they called?
Enthusiast, science lover,
Not
science
enthusiast.
evangelist.
He's like the liaison between actual science and like the general public. So like nothing he says is. I know what Big T's talking about. There was this one thing that he did, which was admittedly wild as shit, but it was on his new Netflix show, and he was talking about the spectrum of genders. And so he was differentiating between sex and gender. And he did this really bad like dance thing where this lady was dancing and sex and gender aren't the same. It was horrible. Admittedly, it was dog shit. But that was like the crux of why conservatives are like, he's not a real science guy. Like, he absolutely is a great purveyor of science.
I saw him speak at UT in 2015. I had to walk out. It was so bad.
What was he
What was
talking
he
about?
saying?
I forget. It was 8 years ago, but it was bad. I'm a anti-Nye.
I'm gonna need you to have your reasons in a holster a little more if you're gonna be anti Bill Nye. Bill Nye's a dude, bro. He's that
He used to
dude.
be. It pained me. I loved Bill Nye. Top 5 day in school watching Bill Nye videos.
That's what I'm saying. What happened? I mean, what did he say? It was the sex and gender thing. Was that what it was?
He fell to the left. He fell victim to the woke.
I think that everybody
Science is woke.
I think everybody as a rule, if you spend more than 30 minutes online in a day on social media, you should have to unwind by watching an episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood at the end of your day. That's what I think.
Pretty bipartisan, right?
Yeah, Mr. Rogers is just like a good dude. Yeah, I think he might have been the last good dude.
I thought we agreed that The Rock was.
Yeah, the Rock might be a good dude.
He's like cool, but he doesn't inspire like Mr. Rogers inspired a feeling in you. Like a feeling of wanting to be good.
Okay.
Like The Rock's just a cool guy that nobody really dislikes. He just doesn't do anything disagreeable.
Mr. Rogers made you like love everybody. Mr. Rogers was a drug. He was like ecstasy.
Bob Ross.
Oh yeah.
Bob Ross is another one.
Yeah, you should have to do a Bob Ross class if you engage in discourse online. Put some happy little trees out there.
GG's, Bob. GG's.
I have thought of a Josh Dobbs name.
Okay.
Nice.
Dobrin Citizens.
That's good. That's good.
Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm mad at it.
I'm a Dobrin citizen.
I am as well. I've been a Dobrin citizen before it was cool.
That's very true.
On
yeah.
this show.
Yeah.
I've been trying to tell people he's a good football player.
And he's an astronaut.
Yep.
Rocket scientist.
That's crazy.
That's kind of lit.
NASA dropped an awesome picture of Josh Dobbs the other day. It's like, hey, shout out to Josh Dobbs, graduate of whatever NASA program he was working with. And it's Josh Dobbs wearing an astronaut suit.
The Pastronaut, all-time nickname.
Yeah. Agreed.
Is he a passer too?
No, he's a quarterback. Pass.
Oh, wow. Okay. That'd have been fire if he's a pastor.
Sure.
It would be, yeah. He's emergency quarterback for heaven if he's a pastor.
Jesus. You're already putting one foot in the grave, man. That's fucked up.
How old is he? He's pretty old, right? Like older than you'd think.
He's like in his 20s, ain't he?
His last year at UT was 16, which means he's probably 29.
Okay, yeah.
28.
He's just played for a bunch of different teams.
Mm-hmm.
He's been passed around a little bit.
Okay.
Give him a home. All right, we got any more voicemails? We good?
That's all.
We good. Okay, what's the voicemail number?
347-560-0401.
We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you.
Especially if you have crazy little setups like Patrick
You
from
got
Iowa.
setups. You want some advice. You want some lady advice. Yeah, I give great advice because I know what not to do because of my experiences.
There you go. That's the best kind of advice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so next week on Macrodosing, we're going to be tapping back in with Billy and Donnie, hopefully get an update on the game. Spread, I think the honest spread, if you're gambling on it, would be Kenya minus 6.5. They won 6-0 last time. So you want to see some improvement from Uganda, put it at 6.5. See if we get a touchdown. Over under, I'm going to put at 13.
I think you got to go over.
I think I'm taking the over.
Especially with an offensive mind like Billy football.
Yeah, this is really going to be it's going to be a real glimpse into Billy's ability to teach people anything, really. So, good luck to Uganda. Weeganda.
Hashtag beat Kenya.
Hashtag beat Kenya. Hashtag Weeganda. Uganda be kidding me. Can you believe it?
Low hanging fruit, man.
I know.
You're better than that.
I'm not better. All right, we'll see you guys next week. And also, I had a little conversation with somebody who works here in the Barstool office who pitched me an idea for an episode.
I can't miss.
Maybe we can do it on Monday. Maybe we can do it. It's more of a nano dose. Maybe we can do it for next Tuesday's show. Maybe we can do it for the Tuesday following. It might be a good Thanksgiving week
Yeah.
episode that we could record beforehand. Yeah,
That'd be yeah. I think that's time to do it.
That makes me feel thankful.
it does. All right, love you guys.